All right, we're live. What is up? What is up? What is up? Why is my chat not working? Refresh. Let's see. Can we get this to work? What's going on, everybody? Always some technical difficulty. Welcome, though. Welcome. Hope everybody had a great day. Good to see all of you. You couldn't hear that. Now you should be able to hear this. Good to see you guys in here. We're about to jump on with the bro shortly. Let me just get my chat to stop being broken. There we go. Perfect. What's up? What's up? What's up? We're going to join our friend shortly. Before we get into everything, there's lots of big stories today. Obviously, one of the biggest stories is the fact that the Supreme Court had upheld birthright citizenship, not allowing Trump to actually amend the 14th Amendment, which was his goal for a decade now. Actually, he's been talking about this. Donald Trump and the entire administration, they've always been believers and or supporters of the idea that birthright citizenship is not legitimate. Charlie Kirk, one of the people that argued for a birthright citizenship being abolished, had always said that the 14th Amendment was enacted due to slavery and things like that versus legitimate illegal aliens having kids and then their kids being able to have birthright citizenship or being citizens of the United States. And if you're under a rock or whatever, it's essentially where so long as you're born anywhere within the confinements of the 50 states of the U.S., you are automatically a citizen just via where you are geographically, like where you're born. Even if your parents came here illegally, even if your parents have visas, if they don't have a legitimate legal standing or a long-term legal standing. And so Donald Trump was trying to reverse that, but the problem, and everybody kind of saw this coming. However, I'm even surprised that there were 3 dissents on this vote, and we'll get into it. It was a 6-3 decision in which it capped on, but I was surprised that there was, 3 dissents, and I think one of the justices, I forget his name, wrote a 91-page dissent, meaning why he disagreed with the decision. And he went into great detail about the fact that this amendment was enacted, the 14th Amendment, guaranteeing birthright citizenship regardless of the circumstances, allegedly regardless of the circumstances. This was enacted due to the only circumstance being for the freed slaves. So we'll get into that. I'll break all of that down. We'll react to some videos. And then we will also get into the Iran updates. Newsflash, not much is different. And Iran is pretty much refusing to talk to us directly. And they're talking through the mediator, Qatar. And the Qatari Prime Minister, Mohammed Ghalibaf, had said that he is not going to talk to U.S. officials until they honor the Memorandum of Understanding, being that they actually released the oil sanctions. And seems like Iran is still waiting on that. And as well as the fact, as we've always spoken about, Lebanon hostilities must cease. And Israel has just killed a Hezbollah soldier today, allegedly, and they're still, in control of tons of land south of the Litani River. So doesn't seem like the U.S. and Iran are going to come to any sort of point of understanding, at least for the next week or so, going into Independence Day weekend this weekend. But we will see what happens as time progresses. Let me call up the bro, and we will get into all the stuff. And then I see we have some. Sorry, I'm texting him right now. I have some chats, so I'll read those in a moment. I will read those in a moment. But what's up? What's up?
Are you
Good
there?
to see all of you. Yo, I'm here.
Oh. All right, hold on. Let me get you in here real quick. Give me 1 sec.
Sure.
Boom. They can see you there. I just got to turn my camera off.
Yes, chat. I'm hungry. Leave me alone.
Got the nice little pink light. I see it.
How to switch it up? I think this is way
There we
better.
go. Yeah, no, I literally named my show Breaking News with Riyadh because I know that there's going to be a bunch of stuff probably going on right now. I literally woke up not too long ago, guys. I've been like trying to catch up on rest, man, the past couple of days, as you guys can see here. I've been so cooked.
Yeah, no, so you actually missed a big story today. Earlier on, the Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship. So it seems like Trump
I saw that on
once
Twitter.
again. And look, I mean, just in the beginning, I'll say this briefly before we read both of our chats, and I have some videos here queued up, so we'll react to them. But I mean, there's really not much of a surprise here, right? A lot of Trump's legislation or his executive orders, some of them have passed through, but a lot of them have been rejected and turned down, like deploying National Guard in the cities and then the tariffs and all those things. And so I'm not surprised to see something as extreme as amending the 14th Amendment actually being turned down. Now, I will say, you know, look, there has been this conversation about getting rid of birthright citizenship for the larger part of the last decade, and Trump has been talking about it, but again, it just seems like his political power and his political sway is dying very slowly. And I think some of the people that he actually appointed inside of this Supreme Court, some of the justices actually voted in dissent, or sorry, not in dissent, in majority favor for upholding the 14th Amendment. So everywhere you look, it's just kind of L on top of L. And J.D. Vance just did an interview with Fox. I'm sure they spoke about that and the Iranian situation. So it's like 2 days of just back-to-back L's. Iran is refusing to talk to us. They're talking to the mediator of the Qatari Prime Minister. Mohammed Ghalibaf says that we are not actually going to talk to the United States and get back to the MOU until hostilities in Lebanon cease, as well as the fact that we want our oil sanctions released, which it doesn't seem like the U.S. has done that quite yet, at least as I'm talking to you now. So lots of things for J.D. Vance to, again, explain to the American public, all of these L's, all of these pullbacks. And I'm telling you, man, they're like violating him. He's the one who has to continuously go up to the media, go to Megyn Kelly, go to Fox News, go to all of these big outlets and like try and explain and reconcile what's going on with the United States and all of these strategic failures by this administration. But yeah, very big story today. So for those of you who have been under a rock or haven't been paying attention, the Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship. Obviously, Donald Trump earlier on in his
trying to get rid of it for a while.
Has been trying to get rid of it. He's been trying to get rid of it for a while, but they had an executive order to abolish birthright citizenship, meaning anybody who is not born to a U.S. citizen would not actually have legitimate citizenship status. And the United States is one of the few countries that actually upholds this. I think of all of the countries in the world, only 30 have birthright citizenship.
There's not many, yeah.
There's not many. So the U.S. is actually one of the few. But, you know, there's tons of argument about it. And I didn't even think that it would get close. 6-3 was decently close. So that's surprising. And I think one of the justices actually wrote a 91-page dissent in his disagreement as to why he feels like birthright citizenship should be abolished. And this is the same argument that we heard from Charlie Kirk and a lot of people on the right, which is the fact that the 14th Amendment was enacted only for freed slaves, and so that their children could be citizens of the United States, which is fair and a great argument in that, I might add. So we'll get into all of that good stuff, but yeah, just another failure for this administration. What were your thoughts when you first saw it? I'm sure you saw it earlier on in the day.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just another failure. He's been trying to get rid of birthright citizenship for a while, which I understand because it's a very abused system. I understand early on, you know, the need or significance of it, but nowadays it's like, come on, dude. Like people are like, I see all the time. People come to the United States pregnant, bro, like 7 months pregnant just for that. So it's like you do have to put some level of accountability, and like you got to nerf it a little bit. Because I see Nigerians constantly coming over here, bro, 7-8 months pregnant, bro. It's Nigerian niggas especially that be doing that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of immigrants take advantage of that. And it's to the L of natural-born Americans or Americans who are born as citizens. And, you know, it's like just the anchor baby cesspool that we're now seeing in the United States. I think even Vivek Ramaswamy's an anchor baby. Like, bro, you know, there are some legitimate blowback effects of that. So it is kind of crazy to see, but I wasn't surprised. I have this article here, but we can react to a video. I'm just going to read these chats very quickly, and then
go ahead.
We'll get into it very briefly. Hayasake Abe, thank you for the 20, says, Myron briefly touched on this, but can you explain more about the building of the third temple? Yeah, that's why Al-Aqsa flood took place. That's why Hamas invaded on October 7th. It was because of the fact that the building of the third temple, where the Western Wall now sits, that's the last remnant piece after the Romans destroyed it. Now, and that was the second temple that they destroyed. Now, obviously, the state of Israel and a lot of conspicuous parties, I might add, Ben-Gvir being one of the main ones who doesn't make this a secret, are trying to build that third temple where the third holiest site of Islam currently exists, which is why there is all this tension in regards to Hamas, the PLO, Israeli officials, and things like that. And so, you know, when people say this is a religious war, I don't know if I'd go that far yet, but there is a spiritual element to it, which is some of the motivation as to why October 7th ever took place. But yeah, I mean, that's really it. Obviously, you have the heifer sacrifice, but they do aim at building that third temple in so that they can bring forth their Messiah, their chosen one, their Mashiach, I think how you say it in Hebrew, or Mashiach. And so obviously Christians and Muslims believe that the Messiah has already come, and they have different interpretation as to who he is, but who or what he embodies, what his divine essence is, but that's Jesus Christ. Obviously, the Jewish people do not share the same faith in Jesus Christ, so they are waiting for their Messiah.
Not wrong.
But that cannot come until the third temple is built, and then this like very pure, free from touching death rabbi goes inside with like these ashes, and it's this whole process. I can't remember. I explained it in the video. If you go back on my channel, I explained it in detail, but yeah, that's really the essence of the third temple. So there's a lot of controversy surrounding it, and allegedly they've already sacrificed a few of the heifers. So they may be closer than a lot of people are led to believe, and that's all intentional. They're not going to be super upfront about the fact that they're right around the corner from building that temple or sacrificing the final heifer.
Adam King went on. He literally went on Tim Pool and like bragged about it. Like, oh yeah, we already sacrificed one. Yeah, I don't know if it was like one of the red ones, but they definitely did sacrifice one already.
Yeah, a perfect unmarked red heifer is what they need, which they got from evangelical Christians in Texas. So crazy. So yeah, that's that for you. But thank you for the super chat. And then Danny Shabao says, yo, Pimpin', what's your thoughts on Saddam? Saddam kind of based, let's see, Saddam from North Dakota. This is from Chase. Saddam from North Dakota. Saddam. The Supreme Court also is going to take the Connecticut assault weapons ban, which is going to be sweet to see AWBS trash can. Yeah, I didn't look into that, but yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. Thank you for the 5. YB Lit, $10. W Bro, keep grinding. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate that. I will try and keep grinding as much as I can. Yeah, some breaking news, though. So we'll react to this video, but anything else you got or you want to add or chat?
Yeah, G-Weez, thank you very much. And Ace Tone, thank you for the gifted subs. And then Speedy says, I always laugh. This comes from the OSS. I always laugh when blacks say, what does the problems in the Middle East have to do with me? The same people that are exploiting and profiting off the black community on the daily are the same ones that are causing all the issues in the Middle East. Yeah, they don't even know, bro. Most blacks think them boys are basically white people, bro. They're too dumb to realize that they're completely different. Like I'll be honest with you, most of these niggas, bro, if you ask them, they would think like these Ashkenazis are white. So, you know, what can you do? Speedy says, why is Trump trying to repeal the 14th Amendment when he should be focused on repealing the 19th Amendment? Look, bro, we can all make jokes about the 19th Amendment getting repealed, but unfortunately, bro, it's never going to happen. I hate to say it. Like, you would need, like, a revolutionary. You need someone crazy like me to get rid of the 19th Amendment, bro. And we'd have to lie. We'd have to be like, oh, no, we're going to protect women's rights. And then once we get in, we just, like, you know, we get rid of that shit. You know?
Yeah. No, the 13th.
So, yeah.
The 13th obviously would never...
I'm a PhD.
19th, and then good use of the soundboard there. Oh, I gotta hit up Josie because she was gonna show me how to hook it up with the Elgato. I'll hit her up after this. But yeah, I mean, and you know, look, there was a decent chance that this could have passed, but I mean, this was the final straw really in regards to Trump's political sway. So they're not going to be able to reintroduce this, and people got to understand. I mean, even if this was passed through the Supreme Court, or they actually went against the 14th Amendment, it still would have had to go through several other processes before it was legitimately approved. So, you know, this was just one step, and they couldn't even get past the first and earliest step, which is, you know, remarkable in and of itself. But again, it's not a surprise here.
Yeah, no, not at all. You have a video you want to share?
Yeah, let's get into
it.
Let's see. All right.
Shannon, we have another decision, and it's a big one. It has to do with birthright citizenship. It was an executive order that President Trump, on day one of his second term in January 2025, signed the executive order. It was immediately challenged, and now we can tell you that the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled against President Trump's order to limit birthright citizenship. Shannon, we have talked for some time about the president feeling that he would not win on this one. The question is, why not?
Okay,
Right off the bat, it says children born in the United States to parents unlawfully or temporarily present are, quote, subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and are citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment's Citizenship Clause. So look how this broke down. As we expected, the Chief Justice wrote this opinion. Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, Barrett, and Jackson joined.
Sneeko, thank you so much for the 5 gifted, my friend. W. Sneeko. Yeah, Sneeko just chatted. He's in mine, yeah. We love Sneeko. He's not alive today. He's taking a break. He's been grinding the World Cup. Shout out to Sneeko. Good brother Sneak. Brother Sneak. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Jackson has a concurring opinion in which Sotomayor joins. Justice Kavanaugh files an opinion concurring in the judgment and dissenting in part. The dissent comes from Justice Thomas. He is joined by Gorsuch.
All right, Tina, watch it. I'm going to shout around your ass. I was not eating bananas and rice. Huh?
Is that Clarence Thomas that dissented it?
Yes, I think so.
The nigga?
Full name. Yeah, the
black guy. I think it's
that's
Thomas.
what.
Yeah,
that
Clarence
was Thomas. The Citizenship Clause added greatly to the dignity and glory of American citizenship. Today's opinions devalues that citizenship. I respectfully dissent, is what he said in some of his final remarks or beginning remarks. Yeah, so he was.
And that nigga was a Trump appointee, wasn't he?
I'm not
That's
sure. Was
crazy
he one of the
work.
ones that Trump appointed? He was.
I'm almost certain he's Trump appointee, bro. That's crazy work, bro. That's crazy work.
It's crazy. No, by the way, Tina saying Riyadh eating bananas and rice. Watch it, nigga. That's a serious accusation.
Wasn't that yogurt?
I will get you removed. Yeah, it was Greek yogurt. The joke is because like Somalis eat everything with bananas. Like they'll eat bananas with anything. The niggas try to crack jokes. It's pretty funny. But watch.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that.
Everything with bananas and shit.
I don't know what, bro. We're not Somalian at all, bro. Not even close.
Bro. The trolls be having a field day with that shit. It's like, bro. Although I've never been. No one's ever called me that. Like actually, people have trolled me. Like, oh, Somali nigga. Like, all right, fuck off. But like, no one's ever actually mistaken me for that. I don't think I look Somali, but hey, the jokesters got jokes, right? It's fine.
Alito, and then Justice Gorsuch apparently has his own dissenting opinion. So it is what we expected after the arguments here, and it looks like a bit of a split, but enough of a plurality coming together to say that the executive order that the president issued very quickly upon taking office is no good, and that if people are here subject to the jurisdiction.
No, so it's not him. It's Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett are the Trump appointees and the justices. So the nigga didn't even have no vested interest. That nigga just don't like immigrants. That nigga definitely comes from a descendant of slaves. He said, yeah, this was for us. So that's what it is.
Thereof includes people who are here illegally. Writing for the majority, Chief Justice Roberts says this: citizenship then and now was the right to have rights to freely participate in our political community. Talking about the 14th Amendment, the framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in this land. That's a quote, and it looks like it's a quote back to some of the legislative debate about this in Congress. He says we keep that promise today. So a loss probably expected by the Trump White House, but it is official and it's a thick one, so we'll keep reading.
All right, thank you so much. Let's bring in Jonathan Turley. President Trump went to this argument. It didn't go as they would like, and you have some thoughts as to why. Go ahead.
Well, this is exactly what some of us predicted after the oral argument. Chief Justice Roberts said rather pointedly when...
And I believe during the arguments, Trump, I don't know if they just mentioned this, I was reading the chat, but Trump actually sat and watched these arguments. First U.S. president in history to do that, which is pretty funny.
Counsel noted that things have changed in the citizenship area and how people become citizens. Roberts pointedly said,
Riyadh, I turned on TikTok on my end as well, so
gotcha.
We just can't make fun of women for a little bit.
Okay. Honestly, no
We're not
cursing too, right?
We will after. Not too much crazy. We could curse a little bit, but yeah.
Well, the Constitution hasn't changed.
Yeah, it's all so good.
It's trash, bro. It's trash, bro. It's fine though. We're covering the news, so it's all good. I got some stuff here as well. We could talk about Venezuela. We could talk about the Middle East too. So there's been some stuff. So yeah.
All right.
We'll go ahead.
And that is reflected in this opinion. It is a roaring decision in favor of birthright citizenship as contained within the 14th Amendment. That is despite the countervailing evidence of some of the drafters of that amendment that they did not want this to be something that would cover birthright citizenship. Now, having said that, there are very good arguments on both sides here, good faith arguments. And I'm just reading through the Roberts decision today.
What are the what are the leftist arguments for it? Because honestly, I don't see a point for birthright citizenship anymore the way it is now, because people just scam it, dude. It is one of the most scammed things we have in this country.
It's the right to jurisdiction within the 14th Amendment is the thing they're always arguing, right? So like the 14th Amendment actually does cover illegal aliens. It's kind of a broad amendment versus the rights argument is like, no, this was meant for freed slaves and that's it, like nothing else. So their argument is a liberal one, right? One of progressivism, one of inclusivity, which is the fact that the 14th Amendment in its code, I think it states somewhere that, you know, it's a right to jurisdiction. So it doesn't matter how you're born or what the circumstances are, whoever your parent is. It's the fact that geographically, so long as you're born in the United States, you are a citizen. And they're arguing that the amendment says that in some indirect or direct way. That's really their argument from a legal code standpoint. However, I mean, emotionally as well, right? It's just they feel like people should have the right. How many people have capitalized off of birthright citizenship?
Yeah, I know what I'll do is no, I'll just pull it up real quick just so people can like actually look at it. So here we go. 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, ratified in 1868 following the Civil War, guarantees birthright citizenship, ensures equal protection under law, and protects citizens' rights against infringement by state governments. I'm assuming what they're contending is obviously the birthright citizenship part.
Yeah, because within that clause itself, the argument comes about that regardless of the circumstances, you are to be given citizenship, which is like the whole point of contention. And, you know, like it's important to note the reason why the Supreme Court upheld this, aside from the fact that maybe some of them found this to be legitimate, is, I mean, could you imagine if this was overturned? Could you imagine if Donald Trump successfully penetrated and actually got some steps in the ground of amending the Constitution, even, you know, and that's been done before, but to this degree for something as, you know, hot and as culturally important and or relevant as this would have been a big deal. So I think maybe some of that influenced their decision as well, despite what people will say about the Supreme Court. Oh, they've only worried about the Constitution and upholding the law. But I mean, could you imagine if this was overturned, the liberals and the left would have mobilized and assembled in a way we would have never seen, or we haven't seen since 2020, I bet you, if they abolished birthright citizenship. So I was almost positive when I saw this and the final decision being done today. I knew that it wouldn't win over, but, you know, definitely something that they're going to parade about and be happy for. And again, just more political L's for Trump. I mean, here's the thing. When you have a ton of executive power and you use it, that's cool, but you better win. And you better actually make sure your legislation passes, because if it doesn't, the blowback is severe. And we're going to start to see the beginning stages of this as we move into the later of the summer and the fall. And I think the GOP is having like some meeting in Oklahoma or something like that. Trump is going to do like some unorthodox rally meeting in Oklahoma next month or something like that. I was reading that out of the New York Times as well.
Bro's getting ready for the midterms, man. He knows it's going to be tough.
Yeah, he's going to have to do something.
It's going to be an uphill battle, man.
Yeah, he's going to have to be doing something culturally significant in order to win the hearts back, because a lot of people have now left the coalition, I suppose. But yeah, that would be their argument, you know. So, and look, I mean, that's been in the Constitution for decades. So for them to also overturn and amend that as well, I mean, there's also the understanding that that's just something that's normally sat for a while. It might take a little bit more influence and or motivation, legitimate reason for them to do that. You know, and here's the thing, man, the GOP, they benefit off of immigration, bro. They benefit, all of these big establishments, all of these big mogul billionaires, they're the ones who reap the benefit from the immigrants being here, and the H-1B situation and the birthright citizenship and so on and so forth, the Vivek Ramaswamis and that kind of party of people, the like somewhat censor conservative idea of thinking. So for them, there's really no benefit in that anyways. You know, who knows what kind of vested interest some of these justices have. You know, people try to say that's conspiratorial, but I mean, you know, just open your eyes. So I don't think that would benefit the super rich earning class, and I mean super, super rich earning class here in the United States, which is probably some of the reason as to why. You know, Trump is doing this to kind of stand on business, because he has said for years, like, I will abolish birthright citizenship. But everybody knew, as they said, the Trump White House and the administration knew that this was unlikely to pass or even get past the Supreme Court. So
Yep.
Is a very comprehensive and good faith argument. What is left here is a decision for the country as to whether it wants to examine a constitutional amendment. Some countries that have had birthright citizenship got rid of it because many of us believe it's an incredibly ill-considered policy.
Yeah, most of Europe, Asia, the Middle East, that doesn't exist. You know, if your parents don't have the ethnicity home to that land or an indigenous or have legitimate standing, it doesn't matter if you're born there. You're not given citizenship right off the bat just for being born there.
We know that. Like, we got cousins that were born in Saudi Arabia, bro, and none of them have citizenship.
Yeah, nigga. Bro, a bunch.
They're like, no, thank you. We're not going to give it to you ever.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's just the way most of the world actually works, but it's the West, really. South America, North America, you got Canada. They have that kind of like birthright citizenship culture, but that's just not a thing in really the East. Like all of Asia, all of Europe, the Middle East especially. The UAE, we always talk about how strict they are with immigration and things like that and all those sort of custom rules and regulations. So it's the same thing on that end. I forget what it's called. There's a principle for it. There's a term, jus sanguinis or something like that, but it's the idea that there's no blood connection to or there is a blood connection to the birth rather than like being geographically dependent, which is the way the United States operates. So it is an amendment or legislation that does hurt the country's like legitimate standing of American citizens long term, I would argue, but I knew that this wouldn't pass by any stretch of the imagination.
Make that decision as well, but we're going to have that debate, and we're going to have to agree. We really haven't had a national debate on this. This has largely been contained within the court system, and it may be time for us as a country to decide how we define citizenship.
It's also something that like only the Republicans care about. The Democrats don't talk about this ever. Like this is a non-issue for them. Like they never touch immigration, hot button immigration topics like this ever. You know, because this
is considered far right policy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though most of the world shares the value that you shouldn't give birthright citizenship to people automatically just for being born there, right? Being geographically dependent. This is considered like a very far right fringe, I would argue even like dissident thing to be in favor of. So yeah, the left would never ever even bring something close like this to legislation, to the table of legislation. It would earn them so much blowback immediately. Huh?
Even centrists wouldn't bring this to the table.
Yeah, because this is where, look, they see this stuff and then they try to conflate it with fascism and they try to say this is the first step in fascism and Trump is abusing his executive power and things like that. But I mean, there is a legitimate pro-American patriotic argument for overturning this aspect of the 14th Amendment, I would argue, but of course they wouldn't.
It's abused. It's 100% abused. I mean, look, like, you know, there's I can't tell you guys how many foreign nationals come to the United States 6-7 months pregnant and then stay here just so that they can get a kid born here and that kid can have a U.S. citizenship and come back later on. Like, that's literally what it is, dude. They scam it all the time.
This is why the term is coined anchor baby, right? For people who don't understand. It's everything that's contingent upon that child being born here that saves the family from actually going back to where they're from. So, you know, it's a loophole in the system, if you will. But it's not something that will ever go.
I'm for it. I'm for eliminating it too. I think it creates a lot of problems. But you know, let's be honest, bro. You guys got to realize that, like, I don't think people understand like how normies think, right? Obviously, you guys are listening to us. We have our political opinions. Some people might say we're far right, whatever. Who cares? Normies, like regular people, tend to be centered. Okay, and when I say this, I mean as in like something like this is like unheard of for them. Like, what? You want to remove birthright citizenship? No, why? Like, most people, if you ask them for their political opinion, they're of the political opinion where it's like, if it doesn't bother anyone, I don't care. Oh, what are your thoughts on gay marriage? I don't care. Does it affect anybody? No, I don't care. What are your thoughts on immigration? Does it affect anybody? Not really. Maybe some people here or there. I don't care. Like normies don't care about a lot of these hot button topics that we argue about here on the internet, bro. Like, that's just an uncomfortable reality, which is why a lot of times nothing gets done about it.
Yeah.
You know, most people look at it like, if it doesn't like affect me negatively, I'm not even gonna bother to care about it, or I'm not gonna give my opinion on it because I'll get fired, or because even if they do have a hot take on it, they're not gonna say it publicly. Like, they're not gonna say it publicly at all.
Yeah, this is definitely considered one of those fringe views, but I mean, it's legitimate and it's consistent. And to think about it, I mean, how many immigrants hopped over the
It is
border during
abuse.
the Biden administration. 6 million plus 10 million. There's different numbers. It's all controversial, but that does make a difference. And so doing this or enacting this piece of legislation, right, actually overturning birthright citizenship would really not make that big of a difference, especially in the short term. These immigrants are still going to have kids. They're still going to fight for them to get citizenship. They'll figure out ways to do that. And so there will be sanctuary cities for them regardless at all times. And there's always ways around it. This is one of, the actual fleeting ideas or something that's just more of a symbolic win than a legitimate one or a tangible one, because the damage is already done in terms of like mass immigration. It's been done. So this is really not even doing much anyways, if it were to even pass, if Trump was to even get what he wanted. And at the end of all of it, he didn't get what he wanted. So, and by the way, I'm well aware that immigration has had its benefits in terms of its, contribution to the GDP and everything, and these people pay taxes. But it does get to a point where now we've seen diminishing gains, and that's especially after 2021 and 2022. So, it is what it is, but certainly a large unlikelihood here. But it is crazy that not wanting people, like, it's a popularized thing around the world. People never know that. Like, no other country shares this kind of rulemaking, and especially the powerful ones that are concerned about the structural integrity of their company or their country and their national people. They never have policy similar to this one. So, you could argue about it for days, but certainly something that's not as extreme as people like to write it off to be.
Yep.
And I have a thread here from, we'll finish this because there's still some good stuff in here, but I have a thread here of the best pieces from Clarence Thomas's 91-page dissent in the Supreme Court's ruling. So we can look at some of his pieces there and his thoughts.
All right, 14th Amendment ratified in 1868. Back to Shannon Bream for the view from Justice Thomas, who was a dissenter here. Shannon.
Yeah, in his dissent, he gets to that point, Bill, that you're making there. The 14th Amendment was enacted in the wake of the Civil War, quote, with the one pervading purpose of securing equal citizenship for the freed slaves. He writes, it was enacted, as Justice Harlan wrote, to secure to a race recently emancipated the civil rights that other citizens enjoyed. So Thomas has always been about that was the purpose of the 14th Amendment. He goes on to say that the court, meaning the majority now, has repurposed the 14th Amendment to protect its own set of preferred rights that the Reconstruction Congress never contemplated and that cannot find support in the text. Today, the court does so by recognizing a constitutional right to citizenship for the children of all foreign birth tourists and illegal aliens. He uses very specific language there. Again, Justice Thomas.
Yeah, and I don't see. Here, can you pause it real quick? And I don't see a problem with that. Like these birth tourists, which there's a lot of them, like I told you guys before, and then illegal aliens. I don't see an issue with that. With removing birthright for these people because they're scamming the system. But of course these guys. And here's the thing, man. If it doesn't get pushed with Trump, it ain't gonna get pushed, bro. Trump has been one of the more harder presidents on immigration, and the fact that it's not getting pushed under him is cooked, bro. It's not gonna get pushed.
Yeah, it's over. If he couldn't do it, it's like no one can.
If he couldn't do it, bro, it's like nobody could do it, man. Or no one else is gonna. You would need someone else that's like a hardcore nationalist to do it, and Trump is the closest to it, even though he's owned by Israel. But that's another conversation.
Yeah, and people don't understand, man. Like, again, there's just look on its face, like the GOP and Republican Party is like anti-immigration, but I just think there's always internal pieces that are actually in favor of this shit. And they're not as hard against it as they make it seem, like a JD Vance or like a Vivek Ramaswamy. So I think the back end moving pieces always have some vague element of interest in immigration to some degree, and this might be a part of it, so it is what it is. And by the way, immigrants have kids at much higher rates than natural born Americans. Although that does taper off after the first or two generations, they run wild with this. And I know people whose parents have done birth tourism, like they were born here and niggas left 10 minutes later. So it's then they come back and they have an accent. They don't even speak English, and it's like, wow, that's unbelievable. But it is a loophole. It's a strategy, and I call it a loophole because I don't think it's actually justified or legitimate, but the Constitution does have that issue.
the government's argument, with which they made here very passionately, that the 14th Amendment was about protecting the children of freed slaves and not what we've come to understand it as. You see his language there. He mentions birth tourism. It came up in the arguments, and clearly that's a very big concern of the dissenters. We also have dissents by Justice Alito and others, so we'll read those as well.
All right, thank you so much. Let's bring in Hugh Hewitt, of course. He's has the Hugh Hewitt Show and a Fox News contributor with his reaction this morning. Good morning, Hugh.
Good morning.
And we're watching Fox News. For all the crybabies saying I always watch Al Jazeera, I watch all news, you fucking bastards.
Dana, my reaction this morning is I'm not surprised by any of these decisions. I would have agreed with, were I in the court, with all three of them. I think the Chief Justice has hit it out of the park on the birthright citizenship issue, and we finally have a decision that lays to rest this endless debate that text, history, and tradition in fact affirm if you're born in the United States, you're a citizen. I love Justice Kavanaugh's clarity on the boys and girls sports. He simply says the Equal Protection Clause allows states to do what they want to do to protect women. And as to the third case on campaign funding, Karl Rove, the architect, had it exactly right. It strengthens parties. It makes parties much more vibrant. And so I think, from my perspective, it's 3-0 for the Constitution today. Now, I know some people, as a matter of policy, as Professor Turley just put out, would like to amend the Constitution to change the citizenship to prevent against birthright citizenship. We can pass a law to tighten up visa. We can secure the border like President Trump has done. But the Constitution is pretty easy to understand. It was written by farmers for farmers. I like to tell that to my con law students every single year. There's nothing magic about this if you just simply read the document, text, history, and tradition. So I think it's a 3-0 day for the Supreme Court, and they can go home and enjoy their summer.
Wow. Okay. Hugh, stand by.
Damn.
Back to Shannon, who's got more yet again. Shannon.
All right, this comes from Justice Alito, who brought this up during the arguments. This is his separate dissent. He said the court's interpretation also has national security implications. Suppose that a person's only connection to this country is that he was born here to a mother who was present just long enough to give birth and then quickly return to her native country. Suppose
do that all
that
the
country
time.
is a
Yeah.
They do that all the time,
That's
dude.
the tourism they're talking about. And I don't know if, like, right, what would the stipulations be of the legislation if it was passed? Would it be the fact that everybody who has reaped the benefit of this in the last however much allotted time would be removed and they would have that revoked? Or would it be from here on out? You know, these are also very big deciding factors that change the outcome significantly. So that's something else.
Yep.
But
strategic adversary or enemy of the United States. Suppose the child never visited the United States while growing up and was inculcated with hatred of this country. According to this court now, that person is a citizen of the United States. He can enter and leave the country as he pleases. He can travel the world on a United States passport. Even if he plots to harm this country, he cannot be deprived of his status as a citizen, at least under current precedent. He goes on to say that this decision today also provides...
You guys know, they cannot deny you at the border if you're a U.S. citizen from coming in at all. So, and then it's very difficult to denaturalize someone too. So, I mean, if you're born here, you're going to get the citizenship. But if you like get U.S. citizenship, even through fraud, bro, it's hard for them to. They'd have to prove significant fraud for them to denaturalize you. So it's not easy to even denaturalize someone after they become naturalized.
wow.
So,
Yeah.
Dude, our immigration system is so broken. It is so broken. I don't think people understand how broken it is. People think, oh, it's just the border. No, dude, it's not just the border. It's birthright citizenship. It's our visa system. It's our visa waiver program. It's our marriage system that we have. Our entire immigration infrastructure to naturalize and become a citizen and or get some type of status. The entire system is cooked. The entire system, and they scam it all the time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We need an immigration moratorium for a period of time to fix it, man. Because
the
entire
DSA coalition is just going to highlight on that and give them all of our shit, you know, in the grand scheme of things. So it's it's like one administration failing on legislation that's allowing the next wave of power to come in and take advantage of what they couldn't fix, which is the immigration crisis. So it's all done now. You know, it's over. People hear this law and people hear this attempt by Donald Trump in his executive order, and they think he's like trying to, well, he was trying to deport everybody, quote unquote, deport everybody. That failed on its face. But people hear this and they think like this is an attempt to like deport every baby that's been born here in the last however many years or whatever. But it's like this is something that would very slowly stop the bleeding to a point where it's marginally noticeable, you know? So if this couldn't win, it's all over. And this is why we were saying yesterday, bro, the blue wave is imminent. The blue wave is imminent. And
it is.
The right is absolutely cooked, okay? I know it's not nice to hear that if you're right wing, but that's just that's the facts.
If they had gotten this passed, they would have used this to come after us as well. Getter Create says small win last week was the cessation of TPS by the Supreme Court. Still not enough. Yeah, bro, that's not enough at all, bro. But yeah, dude, it's cooked.
Yeah, 100%.
Go ahead. We keep going. Shout out to all you guys watching on TikTok, by the way. I see you guys watching on TikTok. We got a good amount of you guys on there.
TikTok.
Yeah. Even though TikTok is trash, I still think it's still trash. But yeah, shout out to you guys watching though. You guys, because it's funny because like they'll be like, this guy's here. Yeah, bro, I know. It's crazy how many people like only use TikTok and don't go anywhere else, bro. It's insane,
bro.
Dude.
A lot. It's people's source for news. It's people's source for everything that's happening in the world. And I know that because I read the comments and people have like a one-sided judgment or opinion about any like mainstream story. Like I'll see now this on TikTok, they have like a pretty big TikTok following and they post these clips of JD Vance or like Donald Trump always talking shit about the administration. And everybody in the comments is like, you can tell they only spend their time on TikTok because they have absolutely no idea what's happening outside of the clip they just watched. So
yep.
Yeah, it's the modern day TikTok brain. And by the way, TikTok has captivated the older generation as well. People think TikTok is just like young people. There's a lot of older folks on TikTok as well. I don't know the age ranges. I'm sure there's some sort of data point and or analytics out there for me to view, but there's a lot of older people on TikTok too. And with Larry Ellison owning it now, it's more friendly for them versus the young. So,
and we know why.
Yeah.
Enter or remain in this country illegally. He goes on to say, in my judgment, the court has made a mistake that will seriously affect the country's future. So some very pointed dissents here from those who raised these very big concerns during the arguments. And they're real world scenarios, which are not a fantasy. They're not a movie. I mean, these things that can actually happen now under this ruling that you have today from the majority.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows.
All right. So we can watch this JD interview. Do you have anything?
You want to see right here? This says about today's Democratic Party. You want to click that real quick? That video up top?
Sure.
I kind of want to see what they're gonna say because this the new Democrat Party is radicalized and communist, bro.
It's over.
Who's got the power? What kind of power?
When we fight,
We win.
when we fight.
We win.
This is
Yo, get
Daria
ready,
Lisa.
guys.
This is Daria.
Yo,
Lisa.
get ready, ninjas. This is what we're gonna have to deal with. This is what we're gonna have to deal with in 26. This is what we're gonna have to deal with in 28, bro. I'm telling y'all, man. They're building up a socialist coalition, bro.
Yeah.
They are building
and
up
they
a
worked for it. You know, like I'm not even whatever, bro. These are 1,000,000% our enemies because if these people get power, we're all fucked. Like I will literally be evicted from my building and canceled from everything. But at the same time, it's like they worked for it. So I'm not even gonna sit here and see that's like, yo, they put in the man hours, they put in the effort, they won over the propaganda, they got people to think what they were thinking, and it was an opportunistic time where they grabbed at the right thing, which was the anti-Israel rhetoric. And anybody who was kind of center left or moderately left or even in the middle kind of bought into the campaign. So, you know, this is the result of all of that hard work and endless grinding. Now they have political representation and it will grow. You know, it will grow. Fox census. That's why they put this video up.
This chick won a seat, bro. She won her election. She won it by a landslide, dude.
Yeah, by a sizable amount.
Some commie chants echoing through New York's ever-expanding commie corridor. The three Democratic...
And by the way, commie, like when Trump and the right used to call Democrats communists and socialists, it was like, all right, maybe that's a bit of a stretch. Now it's like a legitimate term. Like now it's not even like, you know, this arbitrary like dissing culture point. No, it's like real. These people are self-proclaimed like socialists / communists. And they were doing some digging on her, but she was like, into all of this stuff with Marxism and all that. I don't know. I saw it somewhere on X, but these people are like not even hiding their beliefs. You know, they are legitimate socialists and or communists. So maybe the commie thing's a bit too far. I understand that. I know they're different, but it is funny because now this is the first time where this diss is actually holding weight. Like it's not just, you know, a diss. It's actually the truth.
Socialists, who swept the Big Apple, holding a rally earlier as the Democratic Party rolls out a big red welcome mat.
Whatever labels you want to attach to it, whatever she said, I believe that we've got to understand that Big Tent means Big Tent.
I'm not afraid of new members or new ideas in the party. I welcome it.
That friction, although it might make for good, press, it's part of being in a coalition.
The reality is we have an unsettled electoral environment, which is going to be the case when Donald Trump is president.
Yeah, and Hakeem blames Trump for Dem socialist surge, but that's low-key a good reason. That's a part of the reason. And now they're saying they're willing to build this coalition and unite even despite some differences, the mainstream Democrats and these socialists. Yeah, it's over. It's over, nigga.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Hakeem preemptively blaming President Trump if the socialist surge takes Colorado next. Radical candidate Melat Kiros looks to ride the commie wave into Congress by unseating a longtime Democratic incumbent, which may be difficult given she thinks Israel deserved October 7th and America deserved 9/11.
Ah, shit. It's so over, bro. It's so over.
You've said that the October 7th massacre of Israeli civilians by Hamas fighters was the, quote, inevitable consequence of apartheid.
Certain conditions lead people to feeling like violence is their only answer.
Was 9/11 an inevitable consequence for America based on U.S. foreign policy?
Inevitable in the sense that we destabilized a lot of the Middle East, that forced people to believe that another act of violence was the only response.
How you doing over there, Harold? Good?
My nose is running.
Okay, I'm going to go to you next. Dana, so this woman doesn't really have a job.
Nope. Well, I mean, that's another. Look. Start looking at the jobs or the schooling that a lot of the DSA candidates have had. Again, they sound exactly alike. They use the same cadence. They have the same language. They have studied. They work together. They are super organized that way. What Hakeem is doing, and the rest of the Democrats that are doing is they're not making the tent bigger. They're making it more narrow. And the way that that's happening is that the Democrat socialists are using the Democratic Party in order to figure out a way. Okay, so let's figure out a way. We can take these voters and we can muscle in. And then, like, for example, Graham Plattner today, this guy, he is trashing Chuck Schumer up one side and down the other. And then today he says, but I need help because I don't have enough money and you have to help me. And so then Hakeem and Chuck Schumer are going to be in this position. Do they support them? Are they going to cave and probably do that? And when look at the incumbents that they're throwing out of office. Goldman from last week and Espaillat, and the guy we talked about yesterday, well, he's not thrown out, but getting attacked in California. It's not like they are moderate Democrats. They are hardcore progressives. But what's the one issue that they're not solid on that these socialists care about the most? And it's Israel and Jewish people. And they
was waiting for it. Thank you.
They are anti-Semitic, and
actually, that's not really what they care about the most. If I was to be honest with you, what they really care about is free shit.
Of course,
that's what they care about the most. But yes,
the Trojan horse that carries the train. So, and that's what I was telling you the other day, and I said that to my stream by myself when I was alone on Saturday. Like, you can't fall for that, whether that's legitimate or not. We cannot have the bar be so low to the point where just because somebody's anti-Israel, now we're on board despite all of their other asinine policies. And I would get it if it was 2005 and no one was anti-Israel and that was a foreign idea. But that's just not a foreign idea in 2026. Per Pew Research and several other mass polls, more than half of Americans actually sympathize with Palestinians more than Israelis under the age of 30 or 25. Things are changing, times are changing. And so we will see new political candidates step to the stage that will have this correct anti-Israel stance or not cucking for Israel entirely or bending over without all the socialist bullshit. And so we're giving these people the biggest in and we're voting for them without hesitation, when if we just wait and watch or we don't give those votes in that direction, we can demand a presence from the right that has similar rhetoric without all of the extremism. But, people are jumping the gun and jumping on board to this stuff quite quickly. And I say this because there has been this popular mobilization for the DSA in New York City. I live right outside New York City. I see it, so believe what you will, but they're earning the influence of a lot of Americans who like you mentioned earlier in regards to the Supreme Court ruling, don't have opinions on anything. But they hear the anti-Israel thing and it's like on board. And it's like, that may not actually be in your best interest. However, they'll come to know after some time. They won't know just yet.
That is the strain that is driving it. And if Hakeem and Chuck don't believe that accepting these people into the big tent doesn't mean exactly what they're trying to do, they're going to have a rough road of it, regardless if Trump's here or not.
You know, 20, even 10 years ago, Greg, if you had a member of Congress who's running on America kind of deserved 9/11, I mean, she wouldn't get anywhere near Congress.
She seems like she was doing you a favor by answering it. 9/11.
Yeah, and the way to answer that question is America did not deserve 9/11. You just shoot it down right away because they're obviously trying to get you in this gotcha moment like, you know, do you think the U.S. I don't know what that lady had said previously, so I don't have the context as to why they asked her that. But they do this with all these far left candidates. They're like, do you think the U.S. deserved 9/11? It's like, no, the U.S. never deserved 9/11. But that's why I'm anti-intervention in the Middle East, because those can sometimes be the blowback effects of poor foreign policy is the way to answer that. You know, you dishevel this guy with this large organization that was previously funded by the CIA being in bin Laden, and then you destabilize the Middle East, you go after Beirut, you go after Palestine, you give the Israelis all the power, you are going to create some sort of extremism by favoring one side over the other when the other side was actually your ally against the Soviets, and then you turned your back on him and funded the people in his country against his own religious belief. So it was a culmination of things that led to the terror that we saw worldwide from ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And had it not been our poor foreign policy that was motivated by Israel, these things may have never happened. And that's the way you answer those questions. But obviously, the DSA will just kind of, or anybody from the far left, I don't want to slander the DSA despite me not liking them. I want to be honest in my rhetoric. Anybody from the far left may kind of echo similar sentiment. I think Hassan Piker said that once, and then he apologized. The U.S. deserved 9/11. I'm saying it, bro. Fuck it. I'm pretty sure he said that.
Yeah, that's what he said, yeah.
Yeah, and that's disgusting. And, you know, you draw that distinction, but it's important to highlight 9/11 was an effect of poor foreign policy. I care about the country. I don't want our foreign policy to be so bad anymore. But this is the problem with, like, the Fox News, you know, boomers is they do this thing where they conflate it all and just make it seem like you're anti-American because you're anti-intervention in the Middle East. No, that makes me pro-American. You know, that actually makes me care about the country far more than you do. So,
seem to remember that. But I mean, the big tent accepting these people, it's like a tree saying termites welcome. You know, in order to have a tent, you got to have boundaries. The tent itself is a boundary. If everyone is welcome, including the people who wish to destroy you, then what is the point of a tent? It is organizations and groups, families, they're not just defined by who you are, but who you aren't.
And I love how they say, like they're saying, like, you know, Democrats welcome socialists, big arms. No, socialists are taking over the tent, my friend.
They got no choice, bro.
They don't realize that, like, these socialists are taking over the Democratic Party and they're taking over the tent. That is the new meta, dude. And you look at someone like, here, let me share my screen real quick. Well, actually, no, I'll do it after this. Like Mamdani, for example, is like taking over. You know,
I'll take mine off very quickly.
No, it's only 10 seconds. It's not needed. I could do it after this. But like this is the new Democrat Party, bro. Mamdani, everyone he pitched basically got elected.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's got endorsement power and influence now. And this is what I keep telling people.
In the Democratic Party.
Trump has executive power. And of course, because he's a president, he utilizes this. But, you know, Trump is Trump. So maybe he does things a little bit different to other presidents who have utilized their executive power. He's a little bit more unorthodox. But there's a blowback negative of that if you don't succeed in your attempted legislation or all these executive orders. And it's creating this hunger and this appetite, this desperation from the left to absolutely remove and squander and eradicate any presence of the GOP from the United States in the foreseeable future. And that's what he created by all of his policy failures. So when we're telling you no war in Iran, and then he starts a war in Iran that we are struggling to wiggle out of, this creates way more room and opens so many more doors for these socialists to earn talking points. And again, this is why the Democrats welcome them with open arms, because you're not going to be able to combat that rhetoric effectively, especially when it has an anti-Israel core. Whether it's legitimate or not, or it's this Trojan horse for their later agenda or their grander agenda, which is the actual truth, right? They do have this grander agenda of socialism. It is helping them. It is helping them, and they're steamrolling. So I know it's early, And I know people are going to say we're being a little bit pessimistic and negative, but I'd really like to think that we'll see the fruits of this in maybe the next year and a half, 2 years, even as early as November and December. So we'll continue to watch, but
rules to keep people in and out of things. And sometimes that goes crazy, but we do have, somewhere along the line, boundaries were made a sign of bigotry, but there's a reason for intolerance. You do not tolerate bare feet in a restaurant. You do not tolerate grown men in the Girl Scouts. You do not tolerate the obese in the military. I can't be a Harlem Globetrotter, and I can dunk. So does the party have a right to welcome anyone when it affects everyone else in that group? A realistic example, you invite a male rapist into a women's shelter.
Can you
it satisfies
for
your
me,
verdict.
Riyadh? Yeah, just so everyone in the TikTok chat knows and everybody in general knows, guys, the only Discord I pay attention to is my Discord with OSS, guys. I don't know what's going on with the FNF Discord. I don't really care. I'll be honest with y'all. Like, I'm not active on there. The OSS Discord is the one that we watch and we work with. So the FNF Discord is a whole other thing. That's not, I'm not even in there, bro. I'll be honest with y'all. The only Discord I care about keeping 1,000 with y'all is the OSS Discord. So shut the fuck up about the FNF Discord. I don't care, bro. I don't care. If there's some idiots over there doing some dumb shit, I think it's being handled already. But the OSS Discord is the one that I care about. So please shut the fuck up in the TikTok chat. Please shut the fuck up. You guys are retarded, low IQ morons, and it's annoying. Okay? Holy shit, dude. It's actually really annoying. These people keep saying this dumb shit. Like, I don't give a shit about what's going on over there. It's already being handled. But that is not the Discord that I even care about. It's OSS. That's my Discord. You want to join that one, go ahead. But I don't give a shit about what's going on over on the FNF one. And now I got to fucking end the TikTok stream because niggas are retarded and stupid. So, yeah, go ahead. Continue on, Riyadh. Holy shit, man.
Signal. It's a big tent. But then a woman.
And really quick, I just had two chats that I forgot to read. Let me go ahead and read these. 13th Wielder, appreciate you both. Thank you, my friend. Always showing love. I remember that. Nav, y'all gonna talk about the MK Ultra thing? I saw some of that, but I haven't been paying too much attention to it, so no, we're not gonna cover that.
Gets raped and murdered, which is what happened in New York. So again, boundaries exist, so the thing survives. And if you...
Here's the thing about the Dems, though. They don't really have, like, any ideological grounding. That's one thing I'll give credit to in respect to the right. Like, the Dems can sway any which way, so long as it's favorable. And that's the whole idea of progressivism, like to progress, to be ever changing, always adjusting to the new norm. And this is why the right has become more popular. To be a Democrat in 2005, 2007, when Obama was running and he won, is far different now than to claim I'm a Democrat in 2026. Democrats used to be against gay marriage. Democrats used to be against a lot of these things, and now they've shapeshifted just to cater to a lot of people's needs and or like the wider scope of the liberal talking agenda. So they always shapeshift, and it's no different here with the Socialist Party. They're going to accommodate and adjust to them if it means earning favorability from the general left as a whole. So this is like the nature of the left. This is what they do. They shapeshift. There's no surprise here. The right is conservative, right? It's different, huh?
And no, I was gonna say, and as they shapeshift, they actually they increase the conservative base, because people that were progressives before end up saying, "Oh, well, I'm not a progressive anymore. I guess I'm a bigot."
They jump
so then
ship.
they end up, like you look at someone like Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, etc. These guys were like leftists like a decade ago. These guys were progressives a decade ago.
They still kind of are centrist, but people on the left consider them far right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
that's the craziest thing about the Joe
they'll
Rogan.
They'll look at like someone like a Tim Pool and say that he's far right, which is insane to me to even insinuate that. But
it's absurd.
It's absurd.
He's as center as it gets, honestly. So, it's just it goes to show that the left is becoming more and more extreme, and they shapeshift to cater to the talking points and the needs. And look, when it comes to progressivism and culture and things like that, as certain things are just necessary to adjust to, because we are living in a world that's always developing. So I don't want people to think I'm like this old, outdated 80s boomer that's like, driving a F-150. But at the same time, there's a threshold. And the left has went way beyond past that threshold years ago, even a decade ago. And so it's gone too far, which is why everybody now is even at minimum kind of center right or in the middle, because they're saying, hey, I'm not supportive of all this trans law. I'm not supportive of all these differences in what they're teaching in the schools. I'm not supportive of even socialism. But again, the Democratic Party is like, come on in, you know, so they will continue to cater to the ever evolving extreme ideas of the left. And they do that because they don't have any real grounding. That's the nature of their ideology.
Yeah, because the thing is that it's in the word. They must keep progressing, which means what?
Forward.
Becoming more radical, more and more radical.
Yeah.
Let these people in who are openly saying they want to destroy America. You're an accessory to the crime, and it isn't a big tent. Like, you're right. There's no pro-lifers. There's no pro-Second Amendment people. It's like a tent with an open flap. And the flap is facing the direction of basically anti-patriotic, anti-Americanism. It's interesting that they call themselves Democrat Socialists, because you could never envision Republican socialists. Right. There's no. If somebody said I'm a Republican socialist, you go, no, that's nuts. Why can you envision a Democrat socialist?
And we just explained this literally. Go ahead.
I would say you would just call them National Socialists.
Yeah. Yeah,
that would be
going in a whole nother direction if we want to talk about that.
Yeah, that's what you'll call a Republican socialist, my friend, is the National Socialist Party. But we don't want to have the discussion. We're on JTube.
Yeah, that's a very, very divisive topic right there. But by the way, Nikita, thank you so much for the 5. Where did my chat go? Ultra boomer moment. Hang on. Good stuff, Riyadh. Thank you for keeping a clean dialogue and censoring words. I listen to your videos at work. Thank you so much. I'm glad you can listen to them at work. Yeah, I try to not curse. My mom yells at me about it, but it's kind of hard. So sometimes it just hits to drop the F-bomb. I'm sorry. But
it does.
We've been cleaning it up. I'm cleaning it up.
What does that tell you? Something about the Democrats. Harold.
Harold, your name was invoked.
So I am as repulsed and disgusted by this young lady's comments, not as much because I think she wants to be a member of my party or claims to be a member of my party, as it is I think she doesn't understand that if she honestly...
What are you gritting at?
No, I'm just listening to the outrage from his perspective.
Oh,
no,
okay. I thought you were going somewhere else, because I was my mind.
No.
That's fine. It's fine. We'll be professional.
believes what she just said there about we deserved it. She is saying that a group of people who wouldn't allow her to speak the way she's speaking on television, they would kill her. A group of people who wouldn't allow her to dress the way she wants to dress, think the way she wants to think, gain the jobs that try to gain a job like she wants to gain, and then criticize the state as she has. I think these people, Greg, who want to be a part of our tent, I call it the American tent first, and the Republican and Democrat tents are in that big tent. And we may differ on things, but we don't differ on what's...
Yo, y'all crazy in the chat talking about he got a peanut head, man. Come on, guys.
Fundamental about our country. Kayla and I had a
Come on. Control your chat, bro.
Conversation, a debate about what the 14th Amendment... We didn't have a conversation about what America meant and whether or not we deserve to have people come to our country and destroy it. For anyone to call themselves a Democrat who believes that America deserved 9/11, and she's able to say that in a country that she's defending a group of people who wouldn't allow her to say what she's saying, who wouldn't allow her to be the person that she wants to be and achieve and accomplish the things that she's accomplished. I said it the other day and I'll say it again. They offer no answers. There's nothing constructive. We're the most dynamic, the most innovative, the most creative group of people, economic system and economy in the world. At every point in each of the last few centuries, several centuries, America has faced a challenge to whom we are, where people felt excluded.
Oh, sorry.
The answer can't be to burn it down. That's what these people are saying. The answer was, how do we work from within with all the tools and assets and resources we have to make the country better? That's what we ought to be doing. And for those whom are not, and those who want to come into the Democratic Party, there has to be a little bit of an admission fee. And that fee has to be, you understand that the country is great, and our job is to try to make it greater, not burn it down.
Well said, Harold.
Yeah, I mean, no, credit to him in some respect. That's what they want, man. And these people hate America. Whatever happened to, like, Democrats liking the country? You know, I can always get behind that and respect that, at least from a distance.
It's more about, like,
you know what I mean?
Crazy shit, like, I'm going to blow my nose with the American flag. Like, bro, these people are not patriots.
Like,
they don't care
why is that
about
ever necessary? You know, they go on and talk about the fact that the country's got this dirty history as if every country in the world is innocent of all these same things like conquest and things like that. So it's always so frustrating. I just wish there was a big, wide, popular party from the left that shared some sort of love for the country. You know, and you see that from some. You do see that. And you saw that from Biden in some sense, right? Biden was, you know, not super crazy far left, progressive. He would always say, he had that famous speech once. I forgot what he said. It was something along the lines of, we own the finish line. We're second to none. You know, like I can appreciate that. That doesn't exist at all within this new DSA and this new coalition of these extreme far left commie socialists, whatever you want to call them. And that's the biggest frustrating thing, besides their asinine policies and what they want to do with the money that we earn. The biggest or one of the bigger things that concerns me as well is like there's just no patriotism. And like people have now made patriotism synonymous with like being a far right wing radical racist, like pro white supremacist. It's like no, like you can like the country and not have to be far right, actually, you know. So it is so frustrating to see that. And that seems to be like the rhetoric that comes from the Mamdanis and the Daria Lizas and all these other influential people that are now earning bigger voices inside of the DSA.
Harold is absolutely correct.
I was going to say, you want to read your chats, then we'll move on to Venezuela?
Yeah, let's do it. In regards to the earthquake, correct?
Yeah, we'll cover the earthquake and cover other news, and we'll cover what's going on in the Middle East as well. We'll cover, because I know I got about another hour or so with you here. So
yeah, let's do it. I got a couple
chats
chats
here.
here.
I'm gonna turn to Jew talk back on. Go ahead.
Okay. Catchamatolj says communists killed more than Nazis. Not that it matters. Thank you for the 10. Okay, that's it. That's how I only had one more chat come in, and then yeah, if you want, you can get everything queued up and ready for. Venezuela.
Yeah, let me.
Guys, if you're on YouTube, please like the video. Appreciate all the support.
I'll read some chats right now. Let's see here. Chris says, Myron, if you and your brother were voted in as president and VP, how would y'all fix the birthright citizenship problem? We would just make it where you have to have some type of real status in the United States, where if like an address or whatever, where you would actually, you know, and like probably at least bare minimum a green card or be a citizen to actually have some type of citizenship if you're born here. Because the problem is that a lot of people abuse the immigration system. We'd have to fix the immigration system from a top-down perspective, bro. Kara Basil, do you have any advice for white men who survive attacks that will ramp up during the blue wave as the liberals hate white straight men? Bro, just keep doing what you're doing. Just hide, work your job. Let me and my brother and people like us do the talking for y'all, bro. Like, hide your power level. What do we have for surviving the blue liberal wave? I mean, you guys have nothing to worry about because you guys are not like, if you're not like out there like being politically active and doing debates, then you don't have anything to worry about. Shout out to Make America Fascist Again, resubscribe. That's funny. Any chance ICE deportations ramp up after the midterms? Probably not. Probably not. Sauce Ken, welcome to the, I think you just joined OSS. Welcome, bro. So, yeah. And then we got a troll in here, so now I'm going to waste our time with that. Okay, let me go ahead real quick. And, hey, Make America Fascist Again. Thank you for the 5 gifted, my friend. That's a funny name. Make America Fascist Again is hilarious. Let me go ahead and get this going. She Belongs to the Streets. Thank you for the 5 gifted. Appreciate you, my friend. Where is this? Is it? Let me make sure I have the right screen here. And guys, I'm gonna get off of YouTube here very soon. By the way, is that good? Okay, y'all can see this. Okay, so actually, you know what? I know what I'm gonna do.
I cannot. I don't know.
Yeah, you can. Okay. Hold on. That's my bad. I'm just gonna share screen. That's what I gotta do. Boom. All right, there we go. So look at this, guys. This is what was going on when the earthquake first happened. Just so you guys get an idea of what was going on, dude. This was absolutely insane. Holy.
That is absurd, man.
They can't even stand.
That is crazy.
And then the building coming down.
Wow.
That building completely just toppled over.
Yeah, and I think it's nearly 2,000 dead now.
Yeah. Yep. That's crazy. And just a few, like, I'm assuming that was the only time, or did it keep going?
What are you asking?
Like, did it keep going, or like did they like did it like keep going as far as like the earthquakes, or was that just the one time that it like
No,
just
I think
shook?
they were ongoing. They were ongoing for some time. I see here 7.2 to 7.5 magnitude, which is just absolutely insane. So it says here at least 1,900 people killed, more than 10,500 injured, 16,000 left homeless, 6,400 people rescued, 43,000 remain missing, which is unbelievable. And this is the most heartbreaking of it all, not to take away from the other things. They're terrible as well, but 680,000 children in need of humanitarian assistance. So a very, very heartbreaking situation there in Venezuela as well. And I was going to cover that yesterday, but we didn't have much time. But yeah, it's very unfortunate to see what's happened. And I think there's been several earthquakes now over the course of the last few days. Perfect. Yeah, play that.
Yeah, and this comes 15 hours ago. I'll do another one as well after.
A humanitarian crisis
This comes from CBS News Miami.
is unfolding right now in Venezuela in the wake of the double
Oh, hold on, let me turn up the volume for you guys. Sorry.
earthquakes almost 1 week ago, and some of the new video that we're getting into our newsroom doesn't even begin to show the full extent of it, but you can see some of the devastation, all that damage left behind. So far, 1,700 people have died. At least 3 Americans are among those who were killed. We're also learning about the people who had just been deported from the United States when the ground started to shake. According to the Associated Press,
Oh, well, that's going to give them a pass.
146 Venezuelans, including 19 women and 7 children, arrived on a deportation flight from Miami just hours before Wednesday's earthquakes. They were being held at a hotel in La Guaira. Now, we know there were survivors, but it's unclear if everybody is accounted for, and their relatives are now demanding answers. Now, according to the New York Times, doctors have said that in La Guaira, officials
And there's guys that came from the U.S. to help out.
Officials have been processing about 750 bodies every day. The United Nations has also secured 10,000 body bags because searchers have not been able to fully go through many of those collapsed buildings. Meanwhile, hundreds of aftershocks have complicated those efforts. And you've got to
Okay, so there have been aftershocks before.
This just a stunning moment amid all that chaos and heartbreak. So yesterday, rescuers pulled this 21-year-old man out alive. This is Aaron Levi Cantillo. He
106 hours.
was in that rubble of a collapsed building in La Guaira. He'd been trapped for 106 hours. Interim President Delcy Rodriguez shared the video of the rescue on social media, saying the rescue operation took nearly 2 days. And
Mr. Make America Fast Again, appreciate you. Mr. Trigger, appreciate you. Also, for all you brokies in the chat, say you're broke in the chat, someone might gift you a sub. So go ahead, say you're broke in the chat, someone might gift you a sub. Also, guys, I'm going to end the YouTube stream here. We're gonna cover a bunch of different things. We're gonna cover Venezuela. We're going to cover the Strait of Hormuz, what went down with that. We're going to cover the talks at Qatar, off to a shaky start. We're going to cover that. We're going to cover the war, obviously, in detail. So make sure that you guys come on over here in a second. I'm gonna turn YouTube off.
Venezuela is getting some international help, much of it from their neighbors in the Caribbean. Cuba sent a special group to help with search and rescue efforts. And meanwhile, the United States says it will be contributing $300 million to those recovery efforts.
Well, right here in South Florida, donations just keep pouring in. I saw this firsthand yesterday. It's truly incredible. Cars lined up once again at the Global Empowerment Mission headquarters in Doral. So things like batteries, flashlights, tents, they're also important right now, and survivors there are looking for shelter. The Miami Dolphins were even out there lending a helping hand. Now, supplies are appreciated, but...
Yeah, Doral's about 15 minutes from here. Actually, interestingly enough, that's where my old office used to be with HSI. Doral's not that far away. It's where the Dolphin Mall is, actually. It's like right there.
Cash donations are also really vital right now.
Giving cash to those organizations that were already doing the work, that are already there, you're eliminating having to go through the logistical challenges of sending a container.
Yeah, it's probably better to just donate, bruh.
Now, GEM has been loading up planes and sending those South Florida donations to Venezuela almost daily at this point. This is video showing volunteers.
Yeah, guys, we have a huge Venezuelan population down here in Miami. Huge.
Oh my God. Handing
we call Doral Venezuela, as a matter of fact. So, okay, let's get into. Okay, we cover. You want to go into like how they control the Strait of Hormuz, or do you want to go right into? We can go into Qatar talks. Fuck it. So U.S.-Iran peace talks in Doha off to shaky start. This comes from Fox News too, which makes it even funnier. Because you guys know Fox News is the Trump propaganda show, basically. Go ahead.
It's so amazing to see Fox have to cover this story. It's like it just fulfills me because they have no choice but to admit, like, yo, this is an L, and they still keep saying. I was covering this on stream the other day, and I was like, the Fox News anchor was like, the United States still holds the cards, but it seems like right now the situation in Lebanon, I'm like, bro, just quit the coat, bro. This is an L. So it is so funny to watch. You don't even need to go to Al Jazeera to see what's going on. You just go to Fox, and they'll give you the scope as to how badly this is panning out for the U.S. And these reserves are continuously running lower and lower and lower. So go ahead. You can play.
And welcome back into Live Now. And we want to get back.
Hold on, let me get this volume up for you guys.
Yeah,
Fox is usually down volume. Their audio is trash. So yeah. Also, guys, I'm dropping the kick link for you guys on YouTube. For you guys that are watching on YouTube, I'm dropping the kick link for you ninjas. So come on over to kick.com/MyronGainsX, guys. Okay, that is the. Go ahead, Riyad.
I just had a couple chats. Ibn Yahya says $5. Thank you. He says, did you watch the discussion between Mohammed Hijab and Adnan Rashid? I saw some of it, and I'm going to react to that on stream at some point. Freedom Lands at $2. Are we in the beginning, middle, or end of the Iran war? I don't know, bro. It's starting to feel like the beginning, which is really, really not good. Now, I would like to think, idealistically, we're in the middle, stretching towards the end. But the way things are going with this MOU, and then Lebanon, Israel, Netanyahu, could very well be the beginning of a forever war. This is the nature of forever wars. People think forever war means like, fighting the entire time. No, it's constant talks that result in nothing, and then some sort of matter that can't be agreed upon. Some side can't concede on something that's essential for the other side to have concession upon. So we are in what looks like a forever war. I'm not saying it will be, but these are the elements that entail that. So
Mr. Trigger, thank you again, and make America fast again. Appreciate all you ninjas. Yeah, I'm getting off of I dropped the link for you guys on YouTube. YouTube and I'm gonna end the Twitter one too. YouTube, X, and Party going down, guys. YouTube, X, and Party going down. Come on over to kick.com/MyronGainsX. Ending the other streams right now. Party going down now. X going down now. And then YouTube is going down now. Come on over, guys, to kick.com/MyronGainsX. It's all there, and then just come on over. All right.
To the latest discussions on the ongoing conflicts over in the Middle East. We want to take you out now to a live look over Tel Aviv, Israel here, as we continue to track the latest here, as there is some back and forth here when it comes to potential.
Bro, they always are, bro.
Niggas always hanging out in Tel Aviv. Fox News niggas always kicking it in Tel Aviv, goddammit.
They always are, man.
Talks between the United States and Iran.
Today, a little bit more lighthearted because, bro, this topic of Iran, man, I just wish, like, I wake up and I just read the news, and I can predict this shit at this point. It's like unbelievable how much of a cycle it's running in, man. It's like, we strike them, then it's like, all right, no more strikes. Then Lebanon, something happens with Israel. Israel kills like 10 Hezbollah niggas, and then Iran's like, nope, we're not talking anymore, folds their arms, and then it's the same thing like over and over and over again. Like, I bet you we're gonna get strikes this weekend, bro, or next weekend, maybe because it's the holiday. Like, it's just the same thing. But no, go ahead.
Well, Trump is desperately trying to keep the gas prices. And this is why he yelled at like the domestic guys, like, hey, the prices are low. Why are you guys, the Brent crude is low right now. Why are you guys doing it? Well, it's because they know that the strategic reserves are like, we're getting there, man. We're getting cooked. You know what I mean?
So get this. I've got a buddy who owns gas stations, and he gave me the secret lore on this. Shout out to my friend. Right. He's Auto, of course, but he gave me the lore. He was saying that a lot of the gas stations, I mean, here in Connecticut, but anywhere else, they have the margin or the bandwidth really to decrease the prices, but because no one else is decreasing prices, they can't. And that's likely because of a larger reason that they know gas is going to go back or oil is going to go back up significantly from where it is now. He was sending me these screenshots. I don't know if I could show these because there's like some sensitive numbers in here, but the price of gas and what these gas stations are actually paying is way lower than what they're charging, and they're charging an unusually high amount for the margins that they can make. So a lot of gas station owners right now are making tons of money, but that's because they're bridging the gap and preparing for this reserve crisis. So a little bit of insider lore. If you own a gas station or know somebody that owns a gas station, maybe you know something similar to that, but that seems to be the situation here in New England.
Yeah, and then also, like I said, I think it's because they know that the strategic reserves are like kind of cooked.
Yeah.
So, hey, Sandman with the big 50 gifted. Appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate you, Sandman. And for those of you guys that don't know, yes, Kick is where I mostly stream, bro. So Sandman, appreciate you with the 50 gifted, bro. I'm on TikTok for you guys, so you guys know I'm live or whatever, but this is not the main platform, and I'm not gonna be on TikTok the whole time, as you guys know, because TikTok I can't talk about the real ninja stuff. Make America Fascist Again. Appreciate you, man. Thank you guys, and I see you guys in the TikTok chat. We got some Zionists in the chat. I saw some dude with an Israeli flag, and you know what they're gonna say every time they come in here. So
to meet today, we are getting some information that some Iranian, rather their officials, may not be meeting directly here with the United States here. And to talk more about this and just some of the latest that we're getting, we want to bring into the program here Peter Duran with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies onto the program. Peter, so good to be with you.
Defense of Democracies, we know who runs that, by the way. Okay, we definitely know who runs that.
Can you tell us
the small hats?
A little bit about what we could expect today over in Qatar?
All these think tanks, guys, just so y'all know, are run by them in America. All these political think tanks, both on the left and on the right, are controlled by them. But yeah, Sam, man, thank you again, man, for the 50 gifted from before. The Revised G says, I remember you mentioning about the possibility of fuel shortages. Do you stand by it? How do I prepare? How do I stockpile? It's already here, bro. It's literally already here. We're already running low on the. Why do you think Trump signed this deal, bro? Why do you think Trump signed that embarrassing capitulation deal in Versailles, France? He signed it, interestingly enough, because another person signed a Versailles agreement as well back in the day. Well, he didn't sign it, but he made them sign it. Yeah, dude, it's because we don't have the cards, my friend. It's that simple. We don't have the cards.
If we could see any sort of potential negotiations taking place between the United States or...
Someone said it's political theater. It's not political theater, bro.
No.
They're making a political theater for you guys, but we are running out of... The strategic reserves are dangerously low, dude.
This is the farthest thing from political theater, buddy.
He's probably a Zionist, bro.
Not to be, yeah, maybe, potentially. Not to be a dick, but this is the farthest thing from that. This is incredibly real.
Bro. Are we surprised? It's from TikTok.
Low IQ TikTok comment.
Yeah, so not surprised TikTok nigga would say that.
Ron.
Thanks, Bowen. Well, this is the definition of the question. Couldn't we have done this meeting via email? Right now, with the absence of serious Iranian negotiators to meet Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, the president's designated negotiators here, we're really...
Okay, no, it's Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner that aren't serious, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay? It is Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff that aren't serious. Guys, do not forget about this, okay? That the original plan, right, from Donald Trump and his dumbass negotiation team was no enrichment from Iran. That was a non-starter. They were like, yo, no enrichment. They're like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to enrich.
Yeah.
And then obviously Trump had to like concede on that. But it was originally no enrichment, dude, was the original plan.
And the Parliament Speaker, Mohammed Ghalibaf, made a statement today and it was reported out Al Jazeera and several other outlets, but he said this to the Qatari Prime Minister. He said, we're not going to talk to the United States directly in the Memorandum of Understanding again and resume the 60-day buffer until hostility cease in Lebanon, like I had told you earlier, and also the fact that they want those oil sanctions released, and that's something that the United States promised as a part of the Memorandum of Understanding, which is ever-changing with the new circumstances that we're going through every single day. And at the same time, again, we'll get into more of this later, don't worry, I won't spoil it, but they're still controlling the Strait, and they're still making money on the Strait, by the way.
And then they said, hey...
So, go ahead, you can keep going.
Looking at a situation that is the wrong place, the wrong time, and the wrong incentives. The location. Qatar is not a neutral mediator for this discussion. Their interests are not fully aligned with the United States. In fact, they're much more aligned with the Iranian regime. Look at the timing. The IRGC has been acting by attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz, and we have been constantly reacting.
That puts us on with the Qatari bullshit. I get it. Qatar does actually have a growing amount of influence in the United States. I will admit that. But it's that Qatar knows Iran holds the cards, dumbass. It has nothing to do with Qatar being some Iranian sympathizers. That Qatar knows Iran has the cards. They're just trying to mediate these talks. It's the U.S. and Israel making it impossible. Way to omit the most important fact that keeps this war persistent.
Not only that, this dude forgets that like Qatar like lost all of their natural gas.
Tons of infrastructure hit.
Their natural gas got complete. 20% of the world's natural gas got blown up by Iran. Like, did we forget that? Did we just like completely forget that? So of course they have a vested interest in like getting a deal done, because if they don't have a deal, they're going to be in a bad spot.
Yeah,
like what?
Kuwait, Bahrain, all these countries are suffering from the Strait of Hormuz closure, or it being partially congested as of right now. So I understand it's partially open, but that's not enough. If the strait was to open up in its entirety tomorrow, we would still have these back-end delayed effects for the next 6 to 8 months. That's what all the economists are saying. So the fact that it has not entirely opened up yet is effectively similar to it just being closed. Until it's opened up, until we get peace, until we get a guarantee in Lebanon and Israel that they won't fight each other anymore, really Israel agitating the matter, then it's over. That 1/5 of the world's oil will always be held and choked by Iran to make it painful. So every single time you see a news headline that Bibi Netanyahu says we're not done in Lebanon, Bibi Netanyahu says we're not done in Gaza, he says we're going to keep fighting Hezbollah, just simply translate that to oil will not go down, the strait will continue to be congested and or closed, Iran is making a ton of money on the strait, and at the same time, the United States is going to get closer and closer to damaging infrastructure and running out of strategic reserves, which we have reached record level lows of already at this point as I'm talking in time. So, you know, it's like people say, oh, but Israel's got to defend themselves. Why do you care about that more than the fact that our country is suffering? Have you ever seen Trump and Vance as desperate as they are now? You know, that should be a glaring red flag to you. So, again, it's just agitating beyond explanation when Fox News is saying, but it's interesting how Qatar is, you know, really close with Iran. Okay, dumb nigga. Qatar wants peace just as much as everybody else. It seems like you're the one who doesn't understand the underlying issue, and of course they can't actually address.
And they're the ones that are getting bombed. They're the ones that want, you know, that obviously want some type of deal because they want to be able to move oil again, bro, and be able to get get LNG back up and sell natural gas.
At one point during the war, Kuwait hadn't exported any oil for like 35 days straight. I don't know how that stat held up over the course of April and May, but at one point, I think in the midpoint or end of April, Trita Parsi and other people had reported, and I saw this out of so many news outlets, like 2 or 3, that Kuwait was not able to export oil in over a month. You know, and that's huge. That does huge damage to the economy, not only short-term, but long-term. And those back-end effects and delays, and then all of the military structures that are blocking the strait too, like these boats that can mobilize at any point, are really the biggest issue is the mines. And U.S. intelligence said it's going to take time. So the longer we sit in this state of limbo, the longer Israel drags this on, the longer we're getting screwed. So when we tell you it's over in midterms, it's already over, right? This war could end tomorrow. It's still over because we will feel the disastrous effects in November, even if it ends today.
He tried to end it, bro. Tried to end it, and it didn't.
It was slow because Trump says like, "I'm done. It's over." It's like, but yeah, they didn't say it's over. So now they're leveraging Lebanon over your head. So you got to pick a choice. You know, you got to make a decision.
Back foot. And finally, look at the incentives. The IRGC just cannot and will not give up its protection racket, its extortion racket over the Strait of Hormuz. That's paragraph 4 in the MOU. And until and unless that changes, I really don't have much hope for the continuation of a mostly peaceful ceasefire.
Then I wanted to bring in this X-Post right here from Fox News. It says high-level talks are set to begin in Qatar as U.S. officials work to advance the memorandum.
And here's another thing too, bro, because like a lot of these idiots will sit there and say,
say no enrichment. You don't have to enrich when you have that much oil. So I'm not happy with the negotiation.
Dude, I've been saying it forever. Like these people keep telling me, oh, yo, Myron, you know, well, like when I was debating the one idiot last week, Trump never said no enrichment. Yes, he did, dude. That was the original thing right here. Trump has always been, I don't want Iran having any enrichment whatsoever. And then it goes into no enrichment. Then you could do a little bit. Then you could do no enrichment. Then that's why they're having these problems. And Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner keep moving the fucking goalposts. And that's what I'm trying to say. That's a big part of the problem is that he wants no enrichment. The Israelis want no enrichment.
I say no enrichment. You don't have to enrich when you have that much oil.
I mean, do I need to fucking make it that more clear, bro? These dudes just straight up lie, dude. Like that's what pissed me off about these Zionist apologists. It's like they just straight up lie. Trump has been saying forever he does not want Iran to have any type of enrichment. And what he does is he moves the fucking goalpost every single time. One day it's no enrichment, another day it's you can do 3%, then it's no enrichment, then it's you can do 3%, then it's you can't enrich in your own country, you have to, enrich with other people. It's like, dude, what's going on here, bro?
So I'm not happy with it.
Like you see dumbass Ted Cruz nodding along there.
Yeah.
I say no enrichment. Not 20%, 30%. They always want 20%, 30%. They want it for civilian, for civil.
Yeah,
civil. I think it's uncivil. So I'm not happy with it.
And I believe that level is 3.6%, 3.67, whatever it is. But it's,
again, dude, this pisses me off so much. They just lie, bro. They just lie, man. Like, I said that. I literally said the original strategy was no enrichment, no proxies, ballistic missile program completely neutered. That was the original three things that Israel and the United States wanted, which is why they went to war. And this idiot and other Zionist idiots will sit there and say, no, those weren't the strategic goals. Yes, they were, bro. They just couldn't achieve any of them. That's why they had to lie and say, oh, now it's about the Navy and the Air Force. Bro, it was never about that, ever. No one cares about Iran's Navy or Air Force at all.
Yeah.
But
no, you're completely right. In the simplest terms, we started this war on the most maximalist demands, which was no nuclear enrichment, a different regime. Remember some of Israel's proposals where the missiles couldn't go farther than the eye could see practically. And now we're allowing them to control the strait. We're giving them $300 billion. We're releasing oil sanctions, and we're telling them they can keep all of their military assets and so that they don't attack Israel and the Middle Eastern states again. And we even bribed them out of attacking in response to Israel's strike on Beirut earlier on in the month, and no one speaks about that either. So it's comical to see how far we've regressed in our demands, but that's what happens when you fight a power that's been waiting to fight you for years.
And then the thing that pisses me off is like they'll just lie to your face, like, yo, dumbass Mato was saying like, oh yeah, that's not true that Trump wanted no enrichment. Like, I'm playing it right here. He wants no enrichment, bro, and that was the original position he had before the war in February, dude. Like, it's incredible how these guys just fucking lie, dude. It's so annoying. It is so annoying how these Zionists lie, dude. It's actually incredible. And then I got idiots coming in here saying some bullshit about, oh, no, you were wrong. No, I'm not wrong. He just lied to you idiots the whole time. You just don't know it.
Yeah. And the ultimate, just so people understand, if you haven't been privy to this, the ultimate goal of this war for Israel, their main goal was regime change. That was end all be all. With that, of course, comes getting rid of the nuclear or the enriched uranium. But it was a perfect pretext to sell to the American people, Iran's got nukes and they're going to use them. And they're ready to use them on our soil. They're ready to use them against Israel. They're ready to use them against our allies in the Middle East. So that is the false pretext in which we started the war on. But we knew, per our own intelligence, there was no real threat of this big nuclear bomb that Iran was in the process of making. And that's because the director of national intelligence had told us that, and everybody else within the intelligence community, the IC, had said Iran is not actually underway of making this big bomb anytime soon. They're still hedging and utilizing that strategy. So, we started the war on a false pretext. Also, Israel can get their precious regime change, in which they got, and it's a far worse regime. So it's important to understand, like the nuclear was never even a threat. And I was telling you this the other day on OSS. This has been the lie that the American media has been trying to brainwash the people with for years. Since the 90s, they've been saying, not only Netanyahu in these UN assemblies, of course, we know he's been saying that. He's been trying to regime change everybody in the Middle East. But even American media news outlets and American presidents and American officials have always flirted with the idea that Iran is playing with too much enriched uranium, in which, to their credit, you can make that argument, but it was for the greater purpose of protecting their own sovereignty and facing that existential crisis, that being Israel, an imminent attack always coming from Israel at any point because of the fact that Israel had expressed they want to change regimes in Iran, which is what motivated them to do those things with that highly enriched uranium in the first place. So, it's like, you got to understand, this is for all the people that really haven't been keeping up, but you got to understand this systematically and in order and its structure. It is a goal of regime change, but the nuclear is such a perfect front-facing excuse for the American people. And you go in the Fox comments and all of these people on TikTok and stuff, they eat this shit up. They're like, oh, get rid of Iran, state-sponsored terrorism. They can't have nukes. It's like, buddy, without Iran, Israel probably would have been stronger than the United States 10 or 15 years ago. So very, very important to understand that. But I digress. I just want to make sure I can draw that out to people, because a lot of people hear like the nuclear point that we make and they go, what does that matter? Whether we were going for the nuclear enrichment or not. It's like, no, that was the fake reason. That was the pretext. We can't say we're invading Iran to change the regime for Israel. That's not popular. No one wants to hear that. You know, we can't say we're getting rid of their mid-range ballistic missiles program that can't go farther than Europe. No one in America is really going to care that much about that. We've got to talk about a nuke, something that threatens us potentially. It's all bullshit, you know. And by the way, maybe they got one now. So that's the cherry on top. Unfortunately, you know, reluctantly I admit, they may have one now. The chances are higher than ever.
And you know what? I'm going to listen to Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Kent over like some idiots on TikTok and Twitter. Like, we're talking about people that have access to the highest levels of intelligence, and they're saying like, yeah, they're not building a nuke, or we know. And then people are like, oh, no, they are building a nuke. It's like, bro, are you overseeing the CIA, NSA, DIA, and all the other intelligence components, or you're not? Oh, then shut the hell up, okay? I think I'll listen to Tulsi Gabbard on that one. And that ended up costing her job, by the way, because after that, Trump was not happy for obvious reasons. Bro wanted that war with Iran no matter what.
Of understanding with Iran. Iranian officials say there will be no direct talks with the United States, though an Iranian delegation will be in Qatar for indirect discussions. President Trump says both the diplomatic and military options remain on the table as negotiations continue. Despite the renewed diplomatic push, the ceasefire remains intact. And just to your point earlier.
And guys, make sure to double tap the live on your way in when you guys are coming in on TikTok. I hate this platform, so you guys better show some love on here while I'm on here for y'all ninjas.
Like, this could have been an email. If you're gonna go to Qatar, but there will be no direct talks, what's the point? What's the message Iran is trying to send right now?
Well, Bowen, the Iranian regime is a superpower when it comes to playing diplomatic and negotiating games. Look what they've done. They've seen the Americans coming to Qatar. They are basically...
No, it's actually the other way around. We saw them going to Qatar, and then we joined in. And then also keep in mind, guys, that they are in no rush to open up the strait whatsoever. We are the ones that are in a rush to open it back up because strategic reserves are running low. So, it's just... it's absolutely insane how they're rephrasing everything, but that's fine.
If you don't mind, do you want to look at the comments or
on here?
Yeah, I'm so curious as to what the comments are saying.
There is no peace deal. There's no peace talks. There's an old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I was going to say, we bombed them twice during the middle of negotiations, so of course they're not going to trust us, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, what peace
talks? Since when is synonymous with non-existent Taco Tuesday? What peace talks? Yeah, so people are waking up, bro.
Love it.
People are waking up, bro.
I'm telling you, man, in the beginning of this war, the comments were very different. Very different.
Yeah, people are realizing that.
Wait, there was a boomer there. Go back down. Let the bombing continue. I think I saw. Let's see. Just let the bombing continue until morale improves. Only way this problem will be resolved. Yeah, like that's not going to help anything.
This guy's an Israeli. This guy's an Israeli. Bro, anyone at this point that's still cheering for the war or wants the war to go on is either is just as Israeli or a Zionist. That's really what it comes down to.
Look at the one below. As long as that one was kind of based as long as doofus Trump keeps supporting the genocide of Christians, Muslims in Gaza, Lebanon by fascist Israel, there will never be peace. Iran is totally in the right here. Okay, based. No, it's the comments are not nearly as bad. Not nearly as bad.
Yeah, people are waking up, bro. Even on Fox News.
Not responding in kind. They're not going to have a face-to-face meeting like we had in Switzerland just about a week ago. And they continue to draw out these negotiations, tapping President Trump along.
Your chat is hilarious, bro. Nigga said, I got this extra monitor now so I can see all the chats. Some nigga said, Tulsi Gabbard alone with you in the humid office room. What's wrong with you? These horny-ass niggas, bro. Yo, your chat, fuck. I'm like looking at both chats. There's such a difference. Like, yo, Kick is hilarious, bro. I'm sorry. Keep going. Go ahead.
And why wouldn't they? Incentive structures here are all misaligned. Let's recall, Vice President Vance went to the American public and he said the IRGC would not receive any financial benefits until and unless they changed their behavior. And then the Department of Treasury promptly issued a 60-day waiver on our sanctions, allowing Iran to sell as much oil as it wants anywhere in the world. Their immediate reaction was to start attacking ships right away. So clearly the incentive structure for the Iranian regime is upside down, and that certainly needs...
Okay, hey buddy, say why they attacked the ships though. Say why they attacked the ships. See, these guys, these Zionists, bro, they never say anything. The reason why they attacked the ships, my friend, is because Israel did not pull out of Lebanon as agreed upon in the memorandum. Okay, the United States made it sound like they were going to be able to get the Israelis out, and they can't get them out. That's the problem. That's why. I love how he's not telling why.
They said they're going to do a partial pullout, which honestly we're yet to even see the evidence of. They're likely just as aggressive. So.
Incredible, bro.
To change if we're going to see progress in these negotiations.
Is it in Iran's interest to prolong this or any sort of talks? Is that kind of their game plan? Is there any benefits for them to prolong it, whether that be more economic impacts on the world with the Strait or maybe a chance for them to rebuild? What's your analysis on that?
Well, so long as their oil tankers can sail past our ships, past our former blockade that we had established just outside of the Strait of Hormuz, so long as they can continue to sell oil as they can for at least 60 days under this negotiated ceasefire, quote unquote, as long as they can make money selling oil, then they have an incentive not to take any action, to rearm, to reestablish their military forces, and at will attack ships, thus keeping their extortion racket over the Strait of Hormuz in place. It very clearly, President Trump is going to have to use more stick and less carrot in order to put some steel behind his words, because so far the negotiating process is simply not producing the kind of results that J.D. Vance promised the American public.
And where does this leave us now with this memorandum of understanding? Are these points still intact here?
Well, the big one is paragraph.
I mean, all I got to say real quick for you guys is if we want to talk about the, the foundation of defending democracies, right? You look at who the head of it is. It's Mark Dubowitz, and then you look at Mark Dubowitz. Who is this guy? That early life? Oh, every single time, bruh. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
I mean, are we surprised, bruh? Of course this nigga's gonna have all these like super pro-Israel talking points, even though he's a part of FDD, man. Come on.
And that is the point that says Iran will not have control over the Strait of Hormuz. There will be no...
We know who owns all these think tanks, dude, these political think tanks.
Yeah.
Tolls or fees. But look what the Iranian regime has done. They're playing word games. They're saying, okay, we're not going to offer extract any tolls. You're just going to have to pay us insurance to sail past us. You're just going to have to file with our office that will give you a go, no-go signal if you want to sail freely. That's the definition of extortion. We cannot allow that to continue, but until we put some military muscle behind our words, the Iranian regime will continue to play this on-again, off-again game, using military force, attacking ships, and then returning to the kabuki theater of diplomatic negotiations. This cycle will continue until we inject more American military power into this space.
And what about these talks being held in Qatar? We've seen talks being held in Pakistan. Does the location of where these talks really play a factor here when it comes to these negotiations?
Well, Bo, and that's why I said this is the wrong place for these negotiations. I mean, think about it. We have a terror-supporting regime, the Iranian Republic.
I think where
talking with.
Where the talks are actually is completely irrelevant to them not succeeding. We tried in Switzerland, in Geneva. We did it in Qatar. We did it in Pakistan, Islamabad. I don't know if the location matters, actually. I think it's a matter of something else. I just think that, our demands aren't working. And it's like so funny how they just continuously skip over the fact that it seems like it's Israel's fault. You would think JD Vance just blamed Israel pretty much. I mean, it was vague. It wasn't super direct, but JD Vance in a way like just kind of condemned Israel for sabotaging the peace process and being excessive in their violence. And Fox is still like running wild. It's like, hey bro, you're safe now. Like, this administration has now vaguely condemned Israel. You can just give the news, so it's of course I know it'll never happen, but it's just funny to still hear these talking points. And by the way, JD Vance had an interview today, so after this, if you want, we can watch that. He went over the Supreme Court ruling, and then he also went over the situation in Iran, which I'm very curious to hear his take on.
Let's do it.
In the location of another terror-supporting regime.
You just tell me, bro, because you're the one that has to go, get up. So
Qatar has
tell me when you got to cut off.
Not been fully aligned.
Do you have the link ready, by the way?
I have it ready. I'm just making the thumbnail, and then I'll pull it up.
Okay. I mean, this loser is gonna just cape for the Iranians. Sorry, for the Israelis. Also, look at this shit. General Keane, we have to take control of this ourselves.
General Jack Keane is a
I'll play a little bit of this.
Fox News
and then we'll do JD Vance.
strategic analyst.
This guy, another stupid neocon.
And it's great to have you here. Just want to put this up there for people to see in case they missed it. This is yesterday from Iranian's president. Mutual understanding is a two-way street. If the American side adheres to the agreement, we will also fulfill our commitments.
Yeah, the problem is that we can never fulfill our side because the Israelis have a significant control over the Lebanon situation, and they are not going to let go of that, as we discussed before. That is one of the big issues, my friends, with what's going on here with that. So
Our approach to unreasonable saber-rattling and baseless threats is to rely on rationality and human dignity in decision-making and to defend decisively and fearlessly when it comes time to act. They always add many more words than they need to in basically what they're saying. How do you think things are going at the moment as these talks get back underway?
Well, you just put your finger on one of the problems we're facing. At the heart of this issue is we have people saying things that certainly seem reasonable and appealing to us.
Fox finally got a better camera. Damn, bro, it took these niggas forever.
And then we have actions like we've just witnessed. June the 14th,
Bro got the American flag with the Israeli flag. You already know he got that 7,000.
Unbelievable.
We got a deal. And that deal had one principal agreement in it, most of it negotiations for 60 days for all the tough issues. But the one agreement was Straits of Hormuz will be opened by the Iranians. The United States will remove the naval blockade. We removed the blockade, and within days of the agreement, the Iranians begin to do what? Control the Straits of Hormuz, directing ships to go, when to depart, where to go, and how much insurance to.
That was just so funny. He said that. Our naval blockade had nothing to do with them controlling the strait. They were still controlling the strait. That's why we introduced the naval blockade. Bro said it like our naval blockade being removed from the Persian Gulf allowed them to control the strait. It's like, no, that always existed, actually. That naval blockade was not contingent upon their control or not. So it's like, what do you...
And naval blockade, like, he doesn't understand that the naval blockade still doesn't fix the problem. The naval blockade doesn't stop the issue, which is the flow of oil. All it does is it impacts Iran's ability to make money. So, like, he doesn't understand that there's two problems here. The blockade was was put there to try to disrupt Iran's ability to earn money from the strait. However, it did not solve the main problem. If anything, it exacerbates the main problem because oil doesn't get to flow through.
Yeah.
So it exacerbates the actual problem.
Very
because, oh, you paid Iran, we're not going to let you go through. Okay, well, we got oil here. Oh, it doesn't matter. Let's continue to make the problem worse. So, yeah. The blockade actually hurts the very trade that they're trying to recover from.
Pay. And those ships that did not abide by it, they fired on them. And that, the president wasn't about to take that, and we responded in kind as a result of it. So now we're going into another phase.
If this guy's so smart, why is he not like actually on the advisory board and you know, commenting on Fox instead? If he's so smart, that doesn't make sense, huh?
Of negotiations.
That should tell you something.
And listen, on June the
bro's not realistic, dude, with what can actually be done.
18th, the 4 days after the agreement, the Supreme Leader says, number one, we will control the Straits of Hormuz. Number two, we want all sanctions removed. Number three, we want all of our frozen assets back. And number four, we want the United States military presence to depart the Middle East.
Yeah, that's because we started the war, dude. Keep in mind, this was after we started the war. The Strait of Hormuz was completely open. They were completely sanctioned. We had a whole bunch of power and leverage. And what did we do? We forfeited all of it to start this war because we thought that we'd be able to go ahead and get in there in 96 hours and make something happen.
Now, is he playing to his domestic audience, as people would suggest? Or does that defiance and arrogance sound similar to what we've been experiencing for 47 years? So my suggestion is we've got to roll up our sleeves and make sure who we're dealing to. The people are talking nice to us, and they've given us an expectation that this is all going to work out. And at the same time, we have hardliners and true policymakers taking a completely different approach. I think it's less about the domestic audience, as some would suggest, and it's more about who they really are.
Yeah. Lauren Simonetti from Fox Business tracks the Strait every day. She says he had about 40 pass through yesterday, of which at least 10 took the Omani route, which would be considered the international route, that lower route, not the Iranian desired route through the islands that go along its shore there. But Iran's spokesperson for the foreign ministry said about an hour ago that Tehran is determined to maintain its right over the management of the Strait of Hormuz. What does that mean to you when you're trying to mince words for what's considered a domestic audience or an international audience?
Well, isn't that in defiance of the MOU and the agreement we just struck, for sure? Listen, the Straits of Hormuz is a seminal objective that Iran has achieved. The control over it. I think it's up there with nuclear weapons. And I say that because it gives them deterrence.
Yeah, I would argue it's worse than nuclear weapons. And the reason why it's worse than nuclear weapons is because they can shut it down whenever they want. You can't really like use a nuclear bomb, right, without like real consequence. Like they can actually do this with like no real consequence. What's gonna happen? We're gonna blockade the blockade. Okay, bro. That helps. That helps. So I would argue this is actually worse than worse than a nuclear bomb. It's more effective, obviously, for the Iranians, but it's worse for us in the international community because everyone gets hit, dude.
Yeah, and they can do it at any time. They can deploy in the Strait at any time, hurl the threats, have the drones ready, be stationed, and immediately it's blocked entirely. And they can do that whenever they want, whenever they feel like the United States or Israel is undermining them, trying to regime change them, pissing them off.
Or Oman. Or even Oman.
So it's just like, it's a switch. It's a switch. There's no real diplomatic process. There's no legislation. There's no long-winded point of approval. They can just kind of in and out whenever they want, the snap of a finger, and destroy the global economy as a whole within the next 2 or 3 months of doing that. So that's a real dangerous and very effective weapon they have in their back pocket for the foreseeable future, by the way. Who else is going to join them in controlling the Strait? Not Oman. They just bombed a ship for trying to use Oman's waterway. So we know it's Iran Strait.
It is. And they got to accept that, dude. And you know, it's kind of crazy because like they've game planned this for decades, that if you start war with Iran, this is what's going to happen. They've known that they could close the Strait down. The problem is that the president thought they wouldn't be able to do it with the supreme leader being killed. He didn't think that they would have the coordination to do it. He didn't realize how easy it is. Just shoot a couple of drones into the fucking Strait, and then it's like, oh, well, we're not gonna sail, bro. We're good. We're not gonna, you know, because it's really the insurance companies that are the ones making everything like tough.
Exactly, and it's the U.S. fighting back that makes it unattractive for these vessels to pass through as well. It's just the ongoing conflict as a whole. Like even if the Strait is somewhat open, and at this point open is arbitrary because of how much control and influence Iran has over it, but even if the Strait is open, let's say, as long as there's conflict existing within the region, it's still going to spike up the price. You know, so this has to completely end, and then Iran has to completely guarantee full passage for all these ships. Otherwise, we're going to still see the same issues, you know, so, and it's just 1/5. And remember, at one point when the Houthis got involved in Saudi Allah and they started bombing Israel after Israel completely broke all of the ceasefire agreements earlier last month, what was it? I think they were saying that they were going to start to clog up the Red Sea in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which is just west of where the Strait of Hormuz is, right under the Arabian Peninsula. So that's another very big issue, and that'll cut off another 12% of the world's oil, and Europe will really see a larger shortage. Yeah.
So 1/3 cooked right there, pretty much.
We'd be looking at about 32%.
So, all right. Keep
the
going.
reality is they have geopolitical influence as a result of it in the region. We can shut it down anytime we have a problem with you, anytime we have a problem with the United States. That's leverage. That gives them dominance and over escalation. And that is an achievement that they have. I think at some point we're likely, given what you just heard and what their actions speak, we will find ourselves at some point having to take control of it ourselves.
Shout out to Silly Goy says, did you see the video of the explosion in South Lebanon? I don't know if it's fake or not. Sky News posted about it. No, I didn't.
If it's Sky News, it may have some credibility. I'll look into it.
Yeah, see if you can find it.
It up. But we're down this path. We're certainly going to give this an opportunity to see if it works out. But we have to maintain a healthy dose of skepticism here.
So, bro, you guys are not going to get the straight hoping, dude. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, you guys could drop a nuclear bomb on these guys. The only way here is diplomacy. Oh, and I also want to show this. Look at this. Smotrich, another like radical Israeli politician. Israeli Minister Smotrich, Hamas can take over the West Bank in an instant. We saw how quickly it took control of Gaza. We want to bring 1 million settlers to the West Bank so that won't happen. The perfect excuse to take over. Bro, and just so you guys know, there's 750,000, if I'm not mistaken, settlers right now in the West Bank. Illegal settlements, by the way, condemned by the international community. They've been expanding them against the Oslo Accords.
זה ההר ששולט גיאוגרפית וטופוגרפית על כל המרחבים האלה. ואם אנחנו לא נהיה שם, חלילה, יהיה שם בסוף חמאס שמשתלט בשנייה אחת, ראינו באיזה מהירות הוא השתלט על עזה. ובסוף כשאנחנו מקימים...
It's literally so over, bro. The other day, one of my buddies is Palestinian. This wasn't even the other day. This was months ago. But, one of my buddies is Palestinian. I told him, like, bro, wallahi, I love you, bro. And it's free Palestine, but... nigga, it's cooked. Like, it's just over, bro. I don't want to be demoralizing. It's not even funny. It's just you see this shit and it's like, oh, like,
it's bad, bro. It's bad.
It's so bad. It's so bad. And no one is stopping them. And this is why I always rip apart JD Vance and Trump, because they were hammered about the West Bank back in October when the administration was in its first stages. And they were saying nothing is going to happen in the West Bank. We're going to take control of these Israeli settlements. We're going to dial them back. No worries. There's going to be no annexation. And every single month, there are thousands of new settlements. And the CNN, say what you want, CNN's been all over this, covering it very closely. And they go up to these IDF soldiers, not the settlers, IDF soldiers defending the settlers. By the way, that's what they do. And the soldiers say, oh, yeah, we're taking it. Like, it's over. This shit's ours. So there's like no secret. Nothing is conspicuous. They're not hiding it. And they're doing the most detestable, demonstrable things to the Palestinians in the process. They're killing their livestock, murdering all of these animals, destroying their crops. One guy, they tied his genitals up and like paraded him in front of his village above their heads and beat him almost to death. And there was a whole extensive story and bit on that. I mean, like, this is the, not to be...
They're demons, bro. These West Bank settlers are like demons, dude. Like, you guys don't understand.
It's far-right Israeli violence to a level, like, it's honestly equivalent with that of what we're seeing in Gaza. They just don't have the same weapons and capabilities.
They're basically hillbillies, dude. So, like, think of it this way. Like, all the Israelis that, like, don't have money like that like, are kind of like, morons wherever they're from, like the rejects of like New York or the United States or Europe, whatever. They go to the West Bank and they settle there and they just take Palestinian land, bro. That's what they're doing. Like, they're constantly bulldozing Palestinian land. They're expanding the settlements, and they've been expanding them illegally for decades, bro. And this is actually exactly what the Oslo Accords were supposed to stop or like to slow down. And it's and you got politicians like Smotrich and Ben Gvir. These guys are all for expanding the West Bank. And just so you guys know, this is why they gave Gaza up, by the way. They gave Gaza up so they can expand and push more of the West Bank. That's what they really want. They want Judea and Samaria. They call Judea and Samaria.
Yeah.
That's what they want, dude. They want Jerusalem. They want the West Bank. They want to take it over completely. They want those Palestinians out of there, bro.
They don't want to share that shit. And part of that has to do with the Third Temple issue. Part of that has to do with the Temple Mount, the Western Wall, where Masjid al-Aqsa is. It's very problematic to have a large Palestinian presence there that can mobilize and go against their greater plan. And that's why they want to really seize as much control and influence as they can. Obviously, it's under brutal military occupation, but they want to take it a step further. Go ahead.
Riyadh, I was going to ask you, because I said that Jews can't go up to the mount. Can you please explain this to the people that are stupid when I said this, that that Jews can't go up to the Temple Mount to worship or whatever?
No, they're not allowed to, and that's been the law for a long time. And I think even if they do, they're like off to the left. They're not allowed to whatsoever.
Now, look, let me be clear about this, guys. Can you go up to the Temple Mount as a non-Muslim? Yes, you can. As a tourist with police protection, yes, you can. But you can only go on certain days at certain hours. But you can't freely go up there. And that's the point I'm trying to make. You can't freely go up there. And if you're Jewish, you definitely can't freely go up there, and you definitely can't pray up there. This is why when I was saying what I said with the idiots, I was like, yes, Jews can't go up there. This is why Ben Gvir makes a big deal of going up there, because he knows that when he goes up there, he's going to start a bunch of problems. Okay? You can't go up there as a Jewish person, especially at worship. Can you go there for tourism purposes? Yes, you can. But again, like I said before, you can only go up there with a tour guide at a certain time, on certain days, certain windows. That's it. You can't go up there freely, dude. You can't go up there freely. And then I didn't know what you were saying. You're saying they can only go off to the side a little bit? And they definitely can't go up there and pray.
From the videos, I've seen videos, they're off to the side. They're off to the side. I don't think they're actually right on it, you know. So that's another thing as well. But even then, it's not allowed, and like you said, it's only allowed under very specific conditions at certain times. That's the biggest thing too, because of the tension. And this all stems back to the fact that, you know, that spiritual element I always talk about. There is this attempt.
Somebody in the chat says Nick already debunked you on this, Myron. No, he didn't, dude. Oh my, you guys are so fucking stupid, bro. When I said Jews can't go up to the mount, I prefaced it with they can't go up to the mount, and that's why Ben Gvir goes up there and starts problems. Okay, do you want me to show you the video right now? Literally, he goes up there to antagonize problems. So when they go up there, I don't know about you, but if you got to go up there with a tour guide and a police guide, etc., that means you can't go up there, idiot. That's why you need the protection, all these other things. You can only go up there at certain times, and they definitely can't go up there and pray. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay? Like, dude, you are so dumb, it's ridiculous. Like, here, I'll show you because you're so dumb. It's like, bruh, like even what's his name? Even who's the top? What's his name? Michael Jackson's rabbi. Oh my God, I forgot his name. What's his name again?
Shmuley?
Yeah, even Shmuley says you can't go up there. Like, what is this, bro? What the hell is this? If they could go up there, freely, why does Ben Gvir do this every? And this comes from Israeli news, by the way. What I'm showing you guys right now.
Yeah, against status quo.
Dozens of Jewish worshippers openly prayed and bowed in the Temple Mount on Tuesday, blatantly defying the sensitive status quo procedures for the Flashpoint site. They received support from Israel's national security minister and another minister, both visiting the site to mark Tisha B'Av, the day of mourning over the destruction of the two ancient Jewish temples that stood at the site.
We're on Tisha B'Av, the Temple Mount. We have come here to commemorate the destruction of the temple. It should be said honestly that there is very, very great progress here in the governance, in sovereignty, in images of Jews praying. Our policy is to allow prayer, but I also say one more thing. We must win this war. We must win, not go to summits in Doha or Cairo, but to defeat them, to bring them down to their knees. This is the message. We can defeat
Yeah, this guy's crazy, bro.
Hamas and bring them down to their knees.
Considered the holiest site in Judaism and the third holiest site for Muslims, the Temple Mount and Al-Aqsa Mosque compound is governed by a vague, unwritten status quo. Under these agreements, non-Muslims may visit the site in the heart of Jerusalem's Old City, but are not allowed to pray.
Yeah, and they got to visit it with police, as you guys can see there. They got to visit it with police, and they have to go there at certain times on certain days. I think it's only like a 2-hour window 2 times a week, okay? And they cannot pray. That's the big one. So when I say Jews can't go up to the mount, yes, they can't go up to the mount freely. They can't go up there freely, is my point. And they definitely can't go up there and pray. Okay, that's why I mentioned the whole Ben Gvir thing. So, bro, man, people are stupid, bro. Like, it's just,
however, these
I got like dumbass Zionists watching on TikTok right now.
That does not require.
Yeah, they're all idiots. Typical
they're idiots,
TikTok. Bro. I want to just very quickly revisit. I know we had a couple things. Don't worry, I still have a little more time. I want to very quickly revisit this topic where we were talking about Democrats winning. Look at this clip with this lady who just won the primary in Colorado. I think her name is Melat Kiros. She's a part of the DSA.
Real quick, I got 180 in the TikTok chat right now. I am a Zionist and I'll take a pic on the mountain tomorrow. Would you like to place a bet? How much? Okay, go there and see. Let me know what time you go there, idiot. And then how much security you have in the tour guide that you have, because you got to go up there with security, moron. Shut the hell up, dude. Oh my God, what an idiot. Sorry, go ahead, continue on.
No.
And honestly, I don't even know why you're here. Why are you Zionist niggas watching me, bro? I don't fuck with y'all niggas. Get the fuck out of my chat, bro. Enjoy the shadow realm, Zio. Get the fuck out of here. Bruh.
Yeah, I don't know why they watch, bro. It's like, bro, get out.
I don't know why they watch, bro. Like, we don't fuck with y'all. Like, I don't know why you guys, like, we don't fuck with you guys. Like, this is an anti-Israel channel. You guys should know this at this point. I don't fuck with Zionists. I don't fuck with you guys. You guys are losers. The Tiny Hat Club, fuck y'all niggas. You guys are losers, bro. Like, it's that simple. We don't fuck with you guys whatsoever. You guys kill kids every day, bro. You guys literally kill children every day. Okay? Say it's emotional, whatever it may be. When it comes to kids, that's my red line. You guys kill children every day. Fuck y'all niggas, man. Honestly. Sorry, Rad. I'm my bad, bro. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, but that's the brutal reality of the West Bank. You know, like that's the biggest thing people got to understand. And I was saying, I had that conversation with my buddy, and it's horrifying. But he's getting mad at me. I'm like, bro, it's low key over. I don't like to be demoralizing, bro, but it's like it's over. It's over for the West Bank. It low key seems over for Gaza. They're going to get these people out. I hate to say it. And look, they won't willingly leave. It's going to have to be more violence. It breaks my heart. It's terrible. But, they've
been trying to end the West Bank forever, bro.
They're ramping up.
They want to do it so bad.
They are making, like, sizable difference in terms of, the progress has been disproportionate these last couple years. October 7th enabled everything. And that's why they knew it was going to happen. They let it happen because it gave them all the more reason and plausible deniability to go even harder in their campaign. So it's been bad in the West Bank. We'll react to some of those videos maybe tomorrow or next time we go live. We don't have time for it tonight, of course. But to all the people saying, is the left really winning? Does the left have a chance? Again, just pay very close attention to what's happening in front of our eyes. This is Hassan Piker. It's a 20-second clip. With this lady who just won the primary in Colorado, Melat Kiros, I believe is how you pronounce her name, but let's see what this clip has.
Step, right? Democrats have been in power multiple times over the last few decades and did nothing to address the immigration reform that we actually need.
Expenditures, increased spending.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think there has to be an immediate pathway for every single undocumented immigrant that's here in this country today that does not require them to shell out thousands of dollars to go through the process, for it to take decades at a time to be able to get to citizenship, an immediate pathway to citizenship, and then just abolishing ICE is just one step, right? Democrats have been in power.
Look how casually she's talking about giving illegal alien status right away, bro. Yeah. It's so
that's like the populist move, by the way, for Democrats. That's like been their thing forever, is that's always been their thing, is like, oh, let's just it's always been like a pathway to citizenship, a fast pathway. But like they don't want to close the borders either, which is the crazy part. It's like they want, like, look, let's grant them their clown world scenario of them like getting a fast pathway. Okay, but are you going to close the borders? Oh, you're not? Oh, okay, that's great. Like the problem with these people is they want too much. It's like they want it all. They want the free healthcare, they want open borders, and they want to speedway a way for these people to become citizens. But my friend, how are you gonna, if you want universal healthcare, you have to close the borders. I'm sorry, you have to close the borders if you want universal healthcare. That has to be something that's exclusive to the people. And then if you want to highlight citizenship, if you want to speed up citizenship, right? You want a pathway to citizenship, then you really got to close down the borders. But again, these people don't understand that there's a give and take. You can't do it all.
Yeah.
But they would never say close the borders down. They would never say that, ever.
If Americans want more support, more subsidized things, then that's totally fine. I'm not entirely opposed to that, but the first step is like actually cutting off immigration and putting the country first so the people who deserve these things can get them. And that benefits the working class so much more, the people who are actually born here and the people who do things the right way. So it's not that like people are saying, there can't be any sort of government assistance and or subsidized programs. That is necessary in some sort of sense. Of course, I understand that for a functioning society and a country that has a bright future ahead of it. But it doesn't work when you give it to people who are not from here for the large part over a long enough period of time. It will completely change the function of the country, in which we're seeing real time now, because now the function is about to be socialism. So that is the byproduct of extreme progressivism without any sort of control or checks and balances. Let's see. Did you want to get back to your video or?
No. I was done. I just wanted to show you the thing with the West Bank and what they're doing. Oh, and then I'll show you this one last thing here with with our guy Mamdani wanted to took this parade over the Israel parade. Bro went out with the rainbow team instead of the Israeli team, man.
That's crazy. And you know,
yeah, but like as a Democrat, you have to. This is like the cornerstone of the Democrat Party. You have to support these ninjas. Unfortunately,
this
you have to.
This is what I've been saying, you know, and this is what I've been telling the Muslims who have been falling for it. It's like and it's not even because he's Shia. Like I make the Shia jokes. Enough of the Shia jokes. Like I really am not that obsessed with that. But it is the case that these people use Islam and they weaponize it and they try to bridge the gap with all of these things that are opposed to Islamic values. And this is one of them. Look, I'm not saying he needs to step into office and be like a full-blown Salafist, like hardcore, like no gays. Like, of course, that's unrealistic. And so I'm completely sensitive and aware to that. But to do this is beyond the cusp of what is acceptable for any sort of Muslim that has a backbone. So to me, again, I stand against that. I'm not for it. And this is the nature of the Democratic Socialist Party or the Democratic Socialist Party and the Democratic Coalition. Again, this is the byproduct of progressivism. You have to support things that don't even line up with your worldview personally, even what you believe intrinsically, in so that you can cater to the mass appeal, the mass audience that will vote for you. Look how many young people have jumped on the Mamdani train despite their differences across the spectrum. You've got the immigrants who are not even invested in all the liberal ideology. You've got the progressives who went to school here, the young girls who color their hair different colors, the DSA, the Antifas, the Muslims. You know, he's bringing in all these categories to one and making it this big socialist party. And that's because he's catered in every direction. But in doing that, you have to betray your own personal identity and or values. Now, I know he's Muslim. That doesn't mean maybe he's actually intrinsically against the LGBTQ community. Maybe he isn't, but that in and of itself is a problem as well. So, you know, I was telling, again, like I said, I've had this conversation with Sneeko and others and other people in my community as well. They tell me like, hey, you know, he's Muslim. And I'm like, do not fall for this. You know, we can't set the standard so low. This is the precedent now. We have to be very aware of these things. The deception is among us. So, you know, I'm not going for that. But this is why he's popular. There's another video of him like jumping into a pool with his suit and, you know, he does like all the favorable shit, you know, and it works. You know, you got Raising Cane over there about to die talking about the blockade and shit. And then this nigga's walking around with the pride. Like, it's obvious. This is why they're winning, bro. This is why they're winning. These boomer Fox niggas can't work a fucking keyboard. And these are the niggas that have access to AI. By the way, these are the people that are now utilizing the brand new systems that are captivating our economy. Do realize that too as well, right? Like that there is that benefit in progressivism. These are the same people that are not complaining about the change, but adjusting with it and becoming the fruit and the product of it. That's another thing too. So like, I just wish the right can decouple from that and decenter from that, like everything is the same as it's always been, and get with the program, you know, move the needle a little bit.
Yeah, don't think Zuckerberg and these guys are base, bro. They only Altman, all these guys, like they all pretended to be base so they wouldn't get shut down by Trump. Okay.
Yeah.
Like these dudes are all progressives, bro. They're progressives. I mean, outside of Israel, outside of like the Israel issue, they're all progressives, man.
What these guys are doing is, and I'm telling you, I'm giving credit. It is impressive and it's remarkable and it's working and it's concerning. Most of all, and a grand of all, it's concerning. But this is what we have now in New York City. And New York City is a very influential, the most powerful city in the United States, the financial corner of the United States. So we'll see how this continues on, but it's not looking good. I will admit, I think murder's at an all-time low in NYC or something like that. You know.
Yeah, but you know what, dude? I was gonna say that's because the Feds, bro. That's not because of Mamdani. That is because the Feds.
Tell me.
Kash Patel has been going very hard on street crime as FBI director. The Feds have been activated, and also they did a lot of deportations. So I would argue the lower crime is because a lot of these guys are getting arrested by the FBI.
It's set up.
The FBI is finally hitting the streets with these Safe Streets task forces, and they're finally going out and making a lot of these arrests. It's not Mamdani cleaning up the streets. It's the Feds actually doing their job because Kash Patel has been going extremely hard on street crime with the FBI.
Yeah.
The FBI has like been completely reassigned to focus on murders, violent crime. They've revamped the Safe Streets task forces. So that's the real reason why crime is down all across the country, by the way. Murder's down all across the country because the FBI has actually been doing their job and the feds are doing their job for once.
Okay, that's good to know. Because yeah, people always run with that talking point.
Yeah, bro.
This stuff is unbelievable for a self-proclaimed Muslim. It's just unacceptable. It's that simple. You know, it's not. Again, I'm not saying we need severe condemnation, but you cannot go that far on the other side as well. That's just not. It's not ideal. So,
did you want to talk about let's do the JD Vance interview before you go.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. This will be good. I didn't get to see this, so this is going to be a legit reaction here. You want to just pop yours off so I can make the JD one?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yep.
After what was a blockbuster day at the Supreme...
That's a little low. 1 sec.
Court, and as Iran negotiations continue in Doha, who's better to check in with for a little bit of analysis and insights than Vice President J.D. Vance? Mr. Vice President, it's great to see you. The author.
Huh?
He's also promoting his book as well. He released another book.
Yeah. That's the tour. That's the purpose of the tour.
Bro's doing.
He did lose a considerable amount of weight. Maybe this nigga's on a GOP. He's looking a little skinnier.
He did lose some weight. Yeah, he did lose some weight. Yeah,
maybe on some Retta or some shit, some Ozempic. I don't know.
Probably.
J.D. Vance, Mr. Vice President, it's great to see you. The author of the new bestseller, Communion: Finding My Way Back to Faith. Mr. Vice President, thank you very much for joining us. We'll get to your book in just a moment. But I was anxious to talk to you about the Supreme Court today. First, on the birthright citizenship case. A lot of people very concerned that this will throw open the door to hundreds of thousands of more individuals who are exploiting our system here.
Yeah, well, everybody knew this wasn't going to get passed, so there's no surprise.
The administration,
I'm sure he's probably going to say he expected it.
Prepared to do to protect the country, and what can it do after this ruling?
Well, one of the things we're going to have to do is just continue to enforce the border, Laura. This was a very disappointing ruling from the Supreme Court. Of course, we respect it, but we also think that it was a major, major mistake. As Justices Alito and Thomas pointed out, you know, one of the things that might invite, Laura, is people to come here quite literally on a vacation, give birth, and then all of a sudden the child and their family have the full benefits of American citizenship. It's just a preposterous ruling, and
it certainly is. You know, it's
it's a scam. I agree with them that it's a problem. You got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Absurdity of that outcome suggests why the Supreme Court should have went the other way. Now, I know a lot of conservatives, Laura, certainly the people that I'm talking to, that you're talking to, are extremely disappointed in this. I do actually think there's a really big silver lining here, and that's the simple fact that a lot of legal experts expected this case to go the wrong direction.
I had a chat from Freedom Lands. I wanted to mention this before we get into the bulk of this video. He said, I hear Israel will attack Iran directly soon. I was seeing some rumors of that. I don't know if it's substantiated.
That won't be good for them, though, if they do that.
I mean, am I surprised if that is true? I'm not surprised at all.
Someone actually donated a sub. Nigga's name is Fatah Tumessel. on Kick. So someone donated
I'm telling you, your kick chat is I don't look at your kick chat because I just end up laughing and losing focus. Like some nigga was like, Kash Patel's girlfriend's got talent. Like these niggas are hilarious, bro. Anyways, we'll get back. But yeah, I don't
sue you, bro.
Yeah, no, literally. Now I don't know if that's true, but look, I mean, at this point, we can't put anything past Israel, and it would probably be most beneficial of all times for them to start something with Iran now, I guess, right? But they have Lebanon. Yeah. They have Lebanon to keep the tension high.
Yeah, their hands are full of Lebanon and Gaza. Yeah. They've restarted the conflict in Gaza, and then obviously, you know, they got their hands full in Lebanon, dude. Holy.
Lebanon's their trigger. So anytime they want to derail the conversation with the United States and the MOU, they just attack Lebanon. They say something about Hezbollah, tunnel, stronghold, whatever.
By 7-2 or even 8-1. The fact that this case was a 5-4 decision effectively means that the concept of birthright citizenship, which is an absurdity to the 14th Amendment, that concept is hanging by a thread. And so what I take from that is, yes, we've got to fix the immigration system even more. We have to be even more aware of who's coming.
It would be progress in the right direction, being it was so close if it was 5-4. the dissents in the majority. But the problem is you were the last hope of cracking that. The next administration will likely not even go anywhere near that kind of legislation, I would like to predict. So this was the last chance, you know?
Immigration, the problem is, and look, guys, the immigration has always been a double-edged sword politically. Most politicians never want to touch it. Even Republicans are scared to touch it. Trump is the closest we've ever come to anyone, like actually like doing mass deportations or whatever, and it's just not going to happen after this, bro.
Yeah, exactly. He's ruined it. This is what I keep saying. You know, you're going to use all this power. You're going to do these things. Good, fine, good. But you better make sure it works. You got to have those systems set up in place. You fail doing this, you open the door for the other side to absolutely storm you.
Into our country to make sure that they're not benefiting from this atrocious Supreme Court ruling. But it also means that we have to keep fighting, Laura, because we actually have an opportunity to reverse this decision, just as we've reversed so many bad decisions throughout the generations.
You got till November, nigga.
Roger Severino, Mr. Vice President, argues that the president could change that original EO executive order and put restrictions on U.S. territories like the Northern Marianas Islands. They're very close to China, where there's a lot of birthright abuse going on, because the same protections perhaps don't apply to these territorial areas. What do you think about that idea?
So I think it's a great idea. I saw that point from Roger Severino. We're certainly looking at that. We also have to look, Laura, at some congressional and statutory changes that we could make to make it harder for people to actually take advantage of. I hate to call it birthright citizenship. It's fundamentally a loophole that now exists in our immigration system that rewards illegal aliens just because they have a baby in the United States while they're in our country illegally. So I think that loophole is going to cause a lot of problems. There are a number of things that we're already looking at in the administration, Laura.
Sorry, go ahead.
Times too. Like they'll come here illegally and do it. You know,
the whole purpose. That's a motivation, you know, in and of itself.
They come here illegally and do it. So it's like you got to stop those people too. So it's both. It's not even just like them coming here illegally and doing it. It's them coming here legally and doing it as well, which is the problem.
Yeah, there's so many things that culminates the immigration issue, certainly, and so one motivates the other, and that's what we were saying earlier. You know, to get here, the goal is to have children, and then have those children anchor you, hence the term anchor baby, to that full-time citizenship. You know, the baby's gonna save the day, like our friend Vivek in Ohio or others. You know, that's how it works.
Vivek, that loser.
Yeah, which I think isn't him and Vivek locked in? Like, it's so funny that he's going for this legislation. Him and Vivek are locked in. I don't know Vivek's stance on this, but I wouldn't imagine it's super based.
To try to close down that loophole. But fundamentally, what we're talking about is fixing a problem the Supreme Court created. We also want to look over the long term at undoing that problem to begin with, because, again, this was only a 5-4 decision, Laura. How many times did we hear people say that this was going to go 8-1 against the administration? We made some very compelling arguments. We have the better of the case. We've just got to keep fighting at this. And this drives home, Laura, why the midterms are so important, because it's the senators
bro, who's going to tell them?
Who ultimately vote on those Supreme Court justices. Imagine if one of the 5 justices who made a bad call today, if they left the Supreme Court. We want to make sure we get somebody good on there in the future.
Yeah, well, you hail from the Senate, and so many of the Angle viewers want to understand what it is about these, 3 or 4 senators, sitting senators who are Republicans. What is it about the Save America Act that they disagree with so vehemently that they will not move forward on legislation that its major provisions about 80% of the country favor, Mr. Vice President? And is there anything you all can do to try to bridge that gap, given how important that legislation is to protecting our elections and ultimately our citizenship?
You know, Laura, first of all, that legislation is so important. The president has been laser focused on getting the Save America Act passed. And you're right, we actually have the majority of Senate Republicans who will support it. I actually don't think the problem that they have is with the Save America Act legislation itself. The problem that they have, with all due respect, is that they're...
Sure, yeah, let me get that up while he's talking.
So people know what he's talking about. This is very important that he gets us in before the midterms for obvious reasons. I still think he's cooked no matter what. Because, bruh, this war this war was the final nail in the coffin for the Trump administration. It was this war, because the only people that support this war, like I told y'all before, are stupid Zionists. They're the only people that support this war. No one that's like actually a part of the base outside of the Zio lobby wants this war at all. All of us voted for no new wars, bro. Okay, so here we go. The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility America Act is a federal election bill that requires voters. I could barely read it on your end. Let me see if I can make it bigger.
Make it bigger, and you'll be able to see it clearly.
Requires voters to provide documentary proof of citizenship, such as a passport or birth certificate, to register to vote in federal elections passed by the House. The bill remains stalled in the Senate amid partisan gridlock and legislative standoffs. And you know, it's kind of crazy because the Democrats don't want this because they know that they get a bunch of illegal niggas voting for them every time, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they bank on those votes very hard.
Bank on those votes. That's true. For us, we're like, yeah, it's like, you know, it's common sense. Like, yeah, we don't want illegal aliens voting.
Yeah.
For the Democrats, they're like, no, we want illegal aliens voting because they always vote Democrat.
Yeah. So you have to give you have to give credit to some of the effort in respect to this administration, but you know, you can't serve two masters. You can't serve two masters.
They're better on immigration other administrations, that's for sure. That is for sure. They're better on immigration.
Yeah, 100%.
Administration is better on immigration than any other Republican administration I could think of. It's just that he half-asses it all. Like, he stopped doing you know what it was? I was talking about this with Nick. He pulled out of doing the mass deportations to build the political, you know, resolve for Iran, which nobody in the base wanted, by the way. He started a war with Iran that nobody in the base wanted. Stop what the base wanted to start a war in Iran.
And you know, I've said this before when this war first broke out. This administration will be hailed as one of the biggest failures of an administration in some time. I'd say in the next 5 or 10 years, people are going to look back, all the right-wingers are going to look back and say, Trump was so close. If he just didn't start the war in Iran, if he just didn't make some of these critical mistakes that he made systematically throughout his entire presidency, his second term, then a lot of this legislation might have had a much better chance of passing, or at least he would have been able to free up himself from all this occupation and worry and concern in the Middle East, and so that he can focus more. Because now they're doing this towards the tail end, right before midterm. You're muted.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Okay, go ahead. That was weird.
I said I'm not even a fan of Venezuela, but I understand that it was like a military operation success. Like, you know, no one died.
It was 2 seconds.
Get him out. It was 45 minutes. Fine, no problem. I'm not a fan of interventionism, but whatever. It is what it is. But Iran, bro, like biggest. Honestly, dude, I think this is worse. Yeah, this war is worse than FC Files. I'll say it. It's worse than FC Files, bro.
Yeah. In terms of the disastrous effect it's going to have on the global economy and the U.S. economy as a whole, that's going to rubber band it, and how we're going to see it stretches out and has this delayed effect over the next few months or really years at this point, 100%. It's done far more damage to the nation.
Anyone that's for the war, you guys can't trust them. They're not America first. Anyone that's for the war, and I want you guys to pay attention to who is for the war.
Yeah. All the guys that are concerned about our number one political adversary like China are against this war. And they have said several times that China actually benefits from this war long term. And the New York Times is now reporting that China is getting some economic benefits from this war in some vague and conspicuous ways. And, you know, couple in the Caspian Sea, whatever Iran's doing there up north, there's a lot of elements that are not spoken about by the general administration and the base that could be actually strategically benefiting China over the longer period of time. And then they run on coal. You know, and there's so many other things that we should be concerned about, like the first and second island chain and things like that, where we can occupy more of our military infrastructure that is now running low due to this war and the fact that we have to defend all of these weak Gulf allies that we put in a compromising position to begin with, all for the sake of Israel. So 100% it's worse than the Epstein files. It's not even comparable because this is going to do tangible damage to the United States over the longer period of the time. And it's like the Epstein files, yeah, of course, optically it looks bad, but who ever was doubting the fact that high-ranking political officials and celebrities got skeletons in the closet? It just confirmed the suspicion. This war is doing damage to the U.S. regardless of whoever's the leader of the U.S. We can get a new administration in and then not have to worry about our president being in the Epstein files or anything like that. But that's not the same reality for Iran. The new president is going to have a lot of work to clean up if this is still ongoing in 28, which every single day grows closer and closer to being likely. You know, so Somebody
they're
said
going to own the Strait. We're going to deal with the consequence. They're going to own the Strait no matter what. They're going to make money off it. They're going to control it no matter what. So no matter what, we are cooked when it comes to control of the Strait and free flow of energy through the Strait. So, yeah, dude, it's they're always going to make money on it. And again, I am, guys, I implore you, anyone that is like for this war, anyone that's like saying we need to hit Iran, we need to keep the war going, etc. There's a couple people that I could think of. Like, you need to be extremely skeptical of them. Okay. Like, very, very, very skeptical of them. Like, anyone in the right wing that's like, oh yeah, this war is great. They don't care about America, bro. I'm telling you, this war is so antithetical to America first. It's not even funny, dude.
Yeah, there's
you guys are
literally
paying double for gas per month.
Zero benefit for the United States in this war. Zero benefit whatsoever. So, and it's no secret, but a lot of guys who have bigger platforms get this shit wrong, and they get it wrong all the time, and it pains me. You know, not to toot my own horn or your own horn, it's like these guys have unbelievable viewership and they're just so fucking wrong. And if I were to ever talk to them about this in front of their fans, all their fans would quickly realize in a moment's notice, wow, this guy I'm watching is a fucking dumbass. But it is what it is. The people will be deceived in the mass numbers.
Worshipping, dying.
Also, guys, do me a favor. Like my brother's video. I'm looking right now. We only got like 191 likes. And he's almost at 23,000 followers, by the way. So make sure that you guys, here he is. Here's his channel right here, guys. He's literally 22.9. Let's get him to 23,000, guys. Okay, so please follow the channel. Smash the like button on it. Okay, let's get him to 23,000 subscribers, man. We've been able to get him very well. And then, like I said before, he hasn't been on for a bit, guys, because he was moving. But now that he's moved, and then also me, I was recovering a bit, but we're going to be going hard this week. Okay, guys, so don't worry. We are going to be back. We're going to be streaming. We're going to be doing a lot of content. So just do me a favor, guys, and follow his channel. I'll drop the link for you. Here's the video right here. Follow the channel and then like the video for me, please, especially before he gets.
Thanks.
But go ahead. We'll keep going with the JD Vance interview.
Institutional norms when the Democrats are in fact bragging that as soon as they get control, they're going to throw that stuff aside and make it so much harder for Republicans to even win elections. So what some of these Republicans are saying is they don't want to give up on the norm of the filibuster, this sacred Senate institutional norm that a few senators are obsessed with, including, of course, Mitch McConnell. The problem, Laura, is that Democrats themselves are saying the minute that they get power, the filibuster is going out the door. So unilaterally submitting and surrendering as Republicans when Democrats are openly bragging that they're going to get rid of the filibuster, it's just handing your enemy a weapon that they're going to use to strike you down. It's absurd. It doesn't make any sense. But that's why we frankly have to get better senators in there in the future.
Yeah, you've been following what's going on with the Democrat Party and the rise of socialism. The president calls it communism and says this is really the biggest threat to the country now, an internal threat. And you've seen what happens when the base of the party, a party, turns on its establishment, beginning with the Tea Party in 2009, ultimately resulting in President Trump's election twice. So my question to you is, are these DSA types really, in your estimation, going to dominate the entire party?
I unfortunately fear that's the direction the Democrats are headed. And it is communism, Laura. This is not, this is not raising taxes a little bit, however much we might disagree with that. This is abolishing the police. This is let criminals run amok in your cities. This is flood your country with low-wage third world immigrants. And importantly, it's confiscating wealth, not because we want to make any.
Yeah, and that's when we'll really feel that tangible effect of downward pressure on low-skilled jobs, which is already an issue. So, and that benefits the big moguls, the billionaires. That's who that benefits, but that hurts everybody else in America. Everybody else suffers from that.
Everybody's life better, but purely out of resentment, out of an attack on the people who have that wealth to begin with. It really is something we haven't seen in the United States of America in the history of our politics. And Laura, I think that it actually is a consequence of the fact that the Democrat Party has become run by the universities and by the professors. This is not working class union Democrats. This is not socially conservative people who just want a fair shake at life. This is fundamentally fundamentally a view that the United States is an evil country that must be dismantled from the ground and then built back up. That's communism at its core, and you see more and more momentum in that direction from the Democrat Party. Frankly, Laura, I would love it if Democrats were willing, not that they...
The thing that puts me off is we're about to lose to them because you guys are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
That's the thing that kills me is that we are about to lose
blame yourself.
you guys, like, we are literally about to lose these niggas because you guys are fucking stupid, dude.
Yeah.
Like, incredible, bro. Fucking incredible, man.
And they admit that. That's what we were watching the Fox News video earlier. This guy was saying, you know, how dare they try to blame Trump for that? Trump is opening the door wider and wider every single day this war persists for the Democrats. So long as he keeps making mistakes and he has these big goals and or aspirations and he can't deliver on them, every failure is a success for the Democratic Party. So they're just gaining momentum. And this Supreme Court ruling today is a win for them. It's a big W in their favor because this was a reasonable amendment to the Constitution. You talk about playing with the Constitution, you know, you lose people a lot. Even somebody like me, even if I disagree with things fundamentally because of the fact that it's the Constitution. But with this, there was some room for a great point to be made, and even this got shot down. So it goes to speak that they're just earning W's across the board, and they're going to abolish ICE and they're going to open borders. I'm telling you, that's what they want to do. And the same way you saw Trump really move the needle and make some changes that you didn't think were possible in the beginning of his administration with ICE is the same way you're going to see them do everything else in the opposite direction. So, by the way, if you are, very, very quick, guys, if you are large or fat in 2026, unacceptable. Can't excuse that. The only time I ever got fat was on purpose, but it's fine. Go check out our guy, One Chest, the official trainer for my channel and my brother's community, the OSS. He does personalized training. He gives you the plan. He gives you the diet. He will help you transform your body and look better in a matter of time, so long as you stick to it. Go fill out that survey. It's linked and pinned in my chat. If you are fat, again, there's no excuse. He has my endorsement. I've seen several of his transformations. I know his process. I know how he does things. I'm into fitness, and the guy is legit. So if you're fat, get with One Chest, okay? He'll help you out. Yeah. Unexcusable.
Train y'all niggas. We don't got time to train y'all niggas, so you guys got to get One Chest. He'll take care of you.
One Chest will take care of you. But yeah, lean is law, bro. Lean is law. Everybody on Ozempic and shit now. Stop eating so much food, nigga. Get with One Chest, all right?
And you guys wonder why, like with the women too, bro. Like, you can't be fat anymore. Those days are cooked. Like, dude, you guys over here, like, little pudgy belly. Like, you guys are cooked, bro. That's why y'all niggas are struggling with the chicks, man.
Bro, today, very quickly, a little tangent, you know. That today, you know, people are always telling me, like, because I got really lean. I'm like 189 right now. This is like an all-time low since I've started lifting. Or like 190, 191, I'm fluctuating. It's like, you're losing too much weight. You're starting to look skinny. I'm like, yo, bro, do you have abs, nigga? Like, do you have any visible veins or vascularity? Like, shut your fat ass up, actually. Shut the fuck up, you fat ass nigga. So, you know, if you're not somewhat visibly lean in 2026,
nobody
bro,
cares.
You got to get with the program. Skinny is back. It's back in style. I swear to God. It actually is back in style. Everybody's trying to get skinny and stuff. I'm not saying starve yourself, but you got to get in shape, man. It really builds your self-confidence. I felt a lot better ever since I've gotten noticeably leaner. So I recommend all you guys follow the same route, and you'll be real happy on the other side.
They'll bench 3 plates, but they'll be fat. So who cares?
Yeah, bro.
Like,
niggas be strong as hell.
315, but you're fat. And then Franco says, not to glaze, but your shows with your brother are the best. Thanks for all that you do, all you two do. Yeah, no, I appreciate that you like it, man. Like I said before, my bro was moving, so that's why he couldn't be on last week. And then me, I was trying to get a little bit of rest this weekend. So yeah, but don't worry, guys. The long streams are going to be back. Obviously, we're going to do OSS cuts and everything else like that as well. So don't worry, guys. We're back, ninjas. We're back. And then also we're amplifying as well on TikTok. We got a lot of people watching on TikTok. Guys, make sure to follow the channel on TikTok. Dude's name is Fucked Up or Fucked Down. Just gifted 10 subs. Appreciate you, my friend. All the brokies in the kick chat, say you're a brokey, somebody might gift you a sub. So shout out to you, ninjas. We don't bot. We keep it real. Me and my brothers give you guys high IQ stuff. We debunk a lot of the lies, right? A lot of the Zionist lies, like I showed y'all before. And it's kind of crazy because, like I said, people go to a debate and lie to y'all face, and I showed you right there. Yo, what did he say? No enrichment. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, he never said that. It's like, all right, bro. Like the Hezbollah is insane. Is insane. So absolutely. Whatever. But yeah, and then also I got a clip here too with JD Vance as well that I'm going to show you after this interview as well, which is kind of interesting. But go ahead.
Okay.
Let's
It's
keep
only
going.
got like a minute and a half. It's almost over. 2 minutes.
Republicans all the time, but if they were willing to work with us on lowering housing prices, on lowering gas prices, on actually making the lives of American citizens better, you know, we could have some real bipartisan compromise. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about abolishing the police and letting criminals rule our cities. That is a fundamental transformation in the Democrat Party. It's very bad for our country. It's bad for Democrats. And it just drives home why we have to keep these people from getting close to power.
Yeah. Yes or no? Do you think Schumer and Jeffries ultimately survive this surge from the radicals?
No. They're gonna, you know what they're gonna do? Schumer and Jeffries, they're gonna have to join it. They're gonna have to join the coalition. But yes, this is the old guard Democrat Party that is quickly getting fucking trampled by literally, I'm not even getting trampled. They're getting hit with the Falco punch, bro. Falco punch. When it comes to these new Democrats, because these new Democrats, bro, they're socialists, they're aggressive, they get out there and they campaign, they argue, they fight, they're feisty, they have no problem with using violence. Like, these new Democrats are on some other crap, dude. They're
Antifa,
not,
bro.
Yeah, that's what they are. They are Antifa. They are. You know,
100%. I know that might be tough to hear, but they're Antifa. They're anarchists. They don't like rules. They don't like rules. They don't like regulations. They don't like order. It's just this young rambunctious crowd that is mobilized and motivated, and so they're running these old ass niggas over. And the right needs that right now. They really do. They need a young, mobilized, energized party. So.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. And he got booed, by the way. He was also there at the I'll just say the Alphabet Parade. Niggas booed him. They said, "Get out of here." They gave him the Falco punch. So get out of here, bro. Falco punch. You know,
it's over, bro.
So,
they're not compromising. Everybody's going down. So it is what it is. It is what it is. It's kind of like
kitchen now. Shut up.
Is that the sound effect?
Yeah, so you got a kitchen now one. Shut up.
Yeah, I've got it here. We could just quickly look
you
at
got
this.
it?
This is him getting booed. I believe this is the video.
This is him
here.
getting booed at the thing.
Huh?
No, I'm saying the old Democrat Party's getting cooked, bro. It says I'm the first senator to spray 1999. Yeah, nigga. Now it's like, get out of here.
Yeah, you can hear it in the back, so listen closely.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
They're not having it, man.
Yeah,
They're not
bro.
having it, you know, so.
Oh shit! They're telling that nigga get the fuck out of here, bro. And you know what? Here's the thing. It's because he's pro-Israel. He's a Zio. He's a. Here's the thing. He doesn't like what's going on now, obviously, but he's always been a pro-Israel Democrat, like all of them are, just like Jeffries, etc. All these guys are. So nowadays, if you are pro-Israel, but you're a part of the Democrat Party, they're not going to respect you, bro. They're not going to take you serious. Like they were cooking this other guy. Who's the guy?
Uh-oh. Yo, you just cut. Yo, I see you on your stream, but you cut on mine. Here, let me leave the Discord, join it, and join right back. Hang on. Chat, what just happened? Yo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we just got Mossaded, bro. All right, go ahead. You were saying?
Yeah, I think I just got a disconnect. I think I just got disconnected or something like that. My internet lagged out or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you're back. You're good. I'm watching your stream now.
Okay. Very interesting. No, what I was saying was this guy, Greg Wiener, he also got cooked. Let me see if I can find a clip for you real quick. Because he wasn't pro-Israel enough. He's pro-Israel. So, yeah, you can't be a Democrat anymore and be pro-Israel, bro. Those days are cooked now, I think, man.
It's done, man. It's done. And there's more tolerance for pro-Israel rhetoric on the right than there is on the left at this point. And that's also very bad. That also tells me they're about to get smoked. You know, so they're willing to capitulate a little bit on the right for some pro-Israel rhetoric. You see all the Republicans eating up this war, saying, you know, I disagree with the war, but it is what it is. They got to do what they got to do. But for the left, there's absolutely no tolerance for it. You know, and that's the thing with the left. They're more humanitarian, so they care more about the human rights issues in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Lebanon, and that's what draws their concern to that as well. And J.D. Vance, you know, remember, in his vague condemnation of Israel, he tried to say that, you know, oh, they're killing people and you can't kill your way out of every problem. And it's like, bro, you weren't humanitarian until it threatened your chance in midterms. You know what I mean? Like, you weren't actually caring about innocent people's lives and Israel and their war crimes until it played around with your chances in November. So
I'll end the TikTok live, guys. I don't know what happened. Like, the thing acted crazy. So yeah, just come on over. I'll give you guys come on over to Kick for the ninjas on TikTok. I was gonna get off anyway, TikTok. So go ahead, Riyadh.
No, I'll finish up the video though. Unless you had something.
No, I'm good.
Long you're talking about, I think they'll survive for a couple of years, Laura, but in 5 years, people are going to look back at Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, as shocking as this may sound, and they're going to say they were the reasonable moderates of the time, and the DSA types, the far left, the communists, have taken over that party. We know that Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, their policies are pretty far out there. Compared to what's coming online in the modern Democratic Party, it's just going to get weirder and weirder and scarier and scarier. That's why I think, unfortunately, the only sane party left is the Republican Party. Not saying Republicans are right about every issue, and I know that you and your viewers sometimes disagree with Republican congressmen. I certainly do, but we're the only party for common sense and sanity left in the United States of America in 2026.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the...
Yeah, and then do you have another J.D. Vance clip?
Let me show you. Yeah, let me show you. I have a J.D. Vance clip. Yep, and then let me also show you. I'll show you this real quick too. Hold on. Let me. Boom. Where did we go? Look at this. Look at this. This is the Wiener guy I was telling you guys about. Look at this.
Desert Joe, thank you so much for the 5
and
gifted.
nobody. This is
Appreciate it, Desert Joe.
one of those times. This is radical leftist California State Senator Scott Wiener, who is basically being chased out of an event by trans activists. This is radical leftist California State Senator Scott Wiener, who is basically being chased out of an LGBTQ event by trans activists. Now, never mind that Scott was a darling to the trans activist community for a long, long time, but Scott is also a Zionist, and they hate Israel. So, even though he stood up for their community and been a hero to them for a long time, with the left there's no loyalty and you can't give them an inch. So now they hate him, even though they loved him, because of his position on Israel and Gaza. So take a look at this video as radical progressive Scott Wiener learns a hard lesson about the left's loyalty.
That's good legislation on trans rights!
Yo, they go crazy, bro.
That's pretty tough. Damn.
Scott, I want to support someone who's so positive on trans rights, but you're a piece of shit on Gaza. How could you do that? How could you betray queers? How could you oppress people?
You're amazing on trans rights, but you're a piece of shit on Gaza. Let's watch it again. It's going to start over.
How are they wearing? You know, and it's
Scott, I think your legislation on trans issues and your legislation specifically protecting queers on the sex offender registry is fantastic.
They should be out of sex offender registry. What the fuck are we doing here, bro? What are we doing? Come on, man.
Like, I really applaud you for that, and I think you deserve to be here for that.
Why?
But I think your housing policy, and specifically your housing policy aligning with YIMBYs, and I think your policy, on the genocide in Gaza, I think your policy on the genocide.
Yo, they're like following him around and chasing and yelling at him, bro. These guys are crazy. Someone say he looks Jewish. He is Jewish, chat. He is Jewish. Of course he is. Yes,
wow,
he's
that's
Jewish.
Great. You're frozen, by the way.
Oh, I'm frozen? Oh, shit.
I think you do not belong here. I think you do not belong here. You do not.
Yo, these people are mentally ill, bro. Yo, these people are mentally ill,
You don't
dude.
belong here.
This is a guy that supports the gays. This is a guy that supports the LGBT community. He's over here supporting these niggas, and look at how they're chasing him out of there, bro. This is insane, bro. This is why you cannot. I will never align with these motherfuckers, bro. They want us dead. I'm telling y'all, man. They want us dead, dude.
Bro, and it's like, if only. Here, what can we draw from this? Obviously, we don't agree with these people at all in any way. Duh. That doesn't even need. You don't need me to mention that. However, what can we learn from this? You know, this is it's vindication in real time as to what we were saying earlier. If the right lets go of that pro-Israel rhetoric, and they take to these same stages and these same mass demonstrations, and they contact the youth and they get involved like a Fishback or others, then we can see a positive turnout. Then it can really be a fair game. We have a fair shot. But so long as these right-wing party members and so long as all of these Republicans and J.D. Vance and everybody else won't really drop the ball and say what needs to be said, there's no chance. There's no chance. There's way too much momentum in the other direction to still shill for Israel and support their war crimes in the Middle East. So until we get condemnation of that, I'm calling it now, until there's condemnation of that from the right. And it doesn't have to be in this humanitarian way, because that's not what's going to speak to the right-wing party as much as it speaks to the left, because the left is far more worried about the humanitarian aspect and like the whole apartheid colonial aspect and that element, that angle. That's important to them. Yeah. So they can weaponize those talking points. But from the right, it needs to be America first. It needs to be, we're done with Israel, and we're not going to support Israel when they're committing war crimes. There is an issue of morality there. Christians are suffering. You know what I mean? Christians are suffering. Non-Muslims are suffering. It's not just like this Islamic problem for Muslims to have a vested interest in. A ginormous Christian population, one of the largest in the Middle East. You know, all the Maronite Christians, and there's several Catholics. There's some Orthodox as well. And so, you know, this matters to the right a little bit too, especially the younger right. And the younger right is growing and it's transforming and it's influencing the older right too. And I'm seeing it happen real time, but it's going to take a little bit more political shift. It's going to take a little bit more of a change. And I'm yet to see that on the right, but I've fully seen the transformation on the left. So, you know, they stand on business. And look at this guy goes as far as to support them in all of their, like you said, alphabet propaganda
rallies. Became one of their dumbass rallies, and they're running him out of there, bro.
Dude, trans activism, but because he won't capitulate on Gaza, it's like, nope. And it's hard to find a party member who actually capitulates on that. And the fact that they're not willing to concede just because he supports Zionism a little bit or a lot, I'm not too privy about it. It's remarkable. That says a lot. So could do the same thing in our direction, but you know, it's going to take a lot of cleaning up of the ignorance that rids a large majority of this party.
Look at these guys, mentally ill. What is this creature right here? What nigga? What is this thing over here, bro? Nigga, what is going on here, man?
Danger zone!
Nigga, what is this thing?
It sucks because you've been wonderful.
Yo, they're
you've been
flying
wonderful
him.
for trans people, and you've been terrible. And you've been terrible. You've been terrible.
Wait, did one of them just push him?
Yeah,
hold
it looked
on.
like they nudged him.
Wonderful for trans people, and you've been terrible. And you've been terrible.
Maybe he bumped into something.
You've been terrible. You've been terrible on Gaza.
Look, that's just a defeated face, bro. He's like,
Yeah.
man.
He's like, I'm cooked.
Yeah,
I'm
bro is
cooked.
like rethinking his entire political career, bro.
You do not belong here anymore, Scott, and it breaks my fucking heart. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that someone who wrote good legislation for queers is so fucking terrible on Gaza. Scott, do you have anything to say? Do you have anything to say about Gaza?
These people are insane, bro.
How could you do this?
These people are fucking insane, dude.
To San Francisco. How could someone like you
Just weirdo. And look at the weirdos in the back.
say about Gaza?
They're like, look. Say some bullshit over here. This weirdo over here.
How could you do this to San Francisco?
How could you do this to San Francisco?
How could someone like you do this to San Francisco? Scott, say something. Redeem yourself. Do something.
He knows there's nothing he can say. He just knows. He's like, I'm never gonna talk. He knows
There's
you
no
can't reason
reasoning with these people. Exactly.
He knows it. There's a reason why he's not talking to them, bro.
These guys are so far left, it's like immeasurable. You know, like there's absolutely no reasoning with these people whatsoever. It's Cali for you. There's Newsom shit right there.
Willie from 195 says, shout out to you guys. Just bought my first house in New York. No co-signers. Congratulations, bro.
Wow,
Me and my wife be watching right now while I'm painting the basement. Keep cooking up. Congratulations, bro. I'm happy for you. Congratulations on your home, my friend. And I see Desert Joe resubscribed for 7 months. I got you, bro. I gave you a mod on TikTok as well.
I want to like the person.
Fuck you and your Zionist handlers. Yeah.
Such good legislation on trans rights. You're a piece of shit.
Kind of base. That was pretty
Scott,
base.
I want.
Okay, we're basically back at the beginning.
Yo, this is insane, bruh.
Yeah.
This is insane. Like it's crazy because this dude is like, you know, done so much for these fucking whack jobs in the alphabet community.
All for nothing.
And all for nothing, bro. All for nothing. Look how they're treating him. Like they're damn near assaulting him, getting in his face, yelling at him, screaming at him, calling him a piece of shit as they stalk him around like insane, dude. Fucking insane, these people.
This is what we said yesterday, man. These people mobilize, they go outside and they scream and they riot and they go crazy. They're passionate. And as a result, it scares a lot of the mainstream Democratic Party into saying the right and wrong things and being very careful about how they tread these conversations. And it's forced them to adopt a little bit more of this like vague anti-Israel approach, or at least this indifference to Israel. You know, when the war first broke out on February 28th, everybody seems to forget Gavin Newsom like vaguely kind of hinted at the fact that this war is for Israel when he spoke about it and he reacted to it. The press was asking him. So it's kind of like the same thing. He's very nervous to just take this pro-Israel stance. And obviously he's taken AIPAC money and he's like gone back on his comments and say, no, I don't have a problem with Israel, anything like that. But, you know, it's a difficult situation to navigate. And the Democratic Party, or really the far left, Antifa, these anarchists, the DSA as a whole, all of these groups, they all have one thing in common. They will not accept their political leaders serving two masters. And that second master being one over in the Middle East. And so it is huge for them to be against Israel and their war crimes that they committed against Gaza in the last 2.5, by the way, ongoing right now, 2 years.
You guys got to understand, Israel is like the manifestation of all the things that the left cries about. You guys got to understand. That's why. Like, obviously, they just came to the table, right? They just figured this shit out recently. But yeah, this is like literally. And shout out to Fucked Up or Fucked Down. Appreciate you for the 10 gifted. Like, you guys got to remember, a lot of these leftists don't know that. They think that Jews are white, which is comical. We know that Jews aren't white, but they look at them as like. This is what leftists will say. It's a apartheid colonial ethno-state project, right? Or they'll call it a colonial project. That's what leftists call it all the time. But in their eyes, they look at it like it's white people oppressing an indigenous minority group, and that is like the biggest issue to them. Because if you guys remember, like, leftists cry about colonialism all the time. That's all they do is cry about colonialism. And to have a state like Israel, which, let's be honest, it is a colonial state, and it's a colonial state like in 2026. It's like, bruh, these niggas are late to the party. England, France, Portugal, you know, the United States, we stopped colonizing a long time ago. These niggas are still doing it in 2026, which is like unheard of.
Hot and ready. Hot and every single day. Lebanon, West Bank, like hot and ready, bro. And they're threatening Turkey, like, bro, all day long. It's like we're still getting that 1800s mindset today in 2026 in the flesh. So that is true. That's a good point you bring up. I never really thought about it from that perspective. Yeah. Israel is still doing that, like, that outdated style of conquest and encroachment upon borders, and we have all of these modern inventions now like the UN and international law to prevent these things, and Israel just completely undermines it, and the ICC and everything wanting Benjamin Netanyahu as a war criminal even though they haven't even acted upon it. Really, it is true. So you can always bet with the left that they'll be pro-Palestine, always.
They're gonna be pro-Palestine. And again, like I said before, it's not so much that like they don't care so much that like Israel controls our policy and has an enormous amount of power in the United States, and a lot of these, you know, dual allegiance individuals like have two passports. They don't care so much from that perspective of them like running America. They care more that like the state of Israel in of itself is, you know, because you watch any of these progressives, this is what they're going to say. it's a colonial project, apartheid ethno-state. That's what they're going to say. And they're oppressing and occupying the indigenous people, just individuals, killing them and doing a genocide. That's what they're going to call it. That's what they're going to say, which they are correct, by the way. They are correct. But that is their biggest grievance. And then also, again, leftists, here's you can tell if you got someone who's base versus someone who's a leftist. A leftist will assume that Jews are white. They're not at all. They are not white, okay? Jews are not white. Even Ashkenazis, they are not white. Okay, but leftists will say that they're white, but just because their skin color, but they're not. That's how you can actually tell if someone's based or not on this topic. If they identify Jews as white, then you're like, all right, bro. Like, they get, welcome to the party. We understand that you're here. You're loud. You don't like Israel. Great, but Jews are definitely not white, my friend. They're not. But again, they look at it like that because it's important for their worldview to label them as colonial white people, essentially, even though they're not.
Yeah, exactly. And, for a lot of these people on the left, they complain about the apartheid colonialism and they get mad. Sorry, I'm just finishing up this thumbnail here. They complain about the apartheid colonialism, but, it's
still... But the niggas are colonists in 2026.
No, it's true. It's true. I'm saying, even though they don't attack it from the internal domestic angle of the problem, like you hear a little bit more from the right or like the dissident right, it doesn't matter because addressing it the first way or the initial way still kind of addresses the latter issue because it exposes it. It opens up the topic and now it's far easier to have that conversation because if you don't support Israel in all of their wars in the Middle East, immediately their interest in having all of this influence in the United States diminishes real time. Like the only reason that they have all of this interest in actually utilizing our political system and utilizing the money that they have invested in this country is so that we can militarily support them in any adventure they go into. But so long as we don't support those military adventures, we don't support those military campaigns, well then the influence inside of the U.S. is all for really nothing. So it's a one-part criticism, more from like the liberal side, but it does address the latter issue. And to its benefit, it would work, but it's just not.
And it's the writing on the wall too. They're trying to become more autonomous. Like Netanyahu sat down, I think, earlier today, and I could find it if you guys want. He talked about like how they don't want U.S. aid anymore. How they're trying to develop their own stuff. But I've always said though that the aid is nothing, bro. Only idiots will argue about the aid. It's not the aid that's the issue when it comes to Israel. $4 billion is not that much, even though we gave them way more than that because of the war. It's the insurance policy and the enormous amount of and our diplomatic cover that we give them that gives them so much power and juice. That's the issue.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just
I just think it's so funny.
Their influence has now transitioned to legitimate power. Like they're slowly turning into a power versus like just an influential country that has access to power. But it's really gotten to the point now where they are their own real power. That can pose a threat to the United States if we were to oppose each other, which is why realistically we can't. We really can't. We've always got to have some sort of relationship. And people are going to say, Riyadh, what are you saying? I'm not saying it has to be one where we serve them and do everything they ask us to do. No, but we have relationships with every country. It should be similar with Israel. We have a relationship where we demand the right things in U.S. benefit, and we demand them treat their neighbors with respect. We demand Palestinian statehood, because that's the only thing that's actually going to guarantee peace, is Palestinian statehood, is Palestinian sovereignty, their right to self-determination. Gaza being treated like a legitimate piece of land with honor and dignity versus the open-air prison that it sits as today. These are very binding factors upon long-term peace in the Middle East. Without that, it will never exist. So those are the things that must be addressed immediately. Bro, it's like sometimes I sit here and I look at all of these L's in the Middle East and like, especially the situation in Iran, it is one of the easier situations to resolve. You just really got to stop giving Israel money and weapons, bro. And it like, we were talking about how if we went to this...
diplomatic cover.
Yeah. But it's just this lack of condemnation. And then the Axios report, Trump screamed at Netanyahu. It's like, bro, really? That's like, come on. Like, come on, bro. That's just that's not it. So, yeah, it is what it is.
All right, let's see here what we...
Because, he's going on and about, I love what you've done for the trans community and the queer community. So, he had the option to just...
Yeah, bro, it's cooked. Okay, here's JD Vance. Check this out. It says here, here's JD Vance on Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire Network yesterday, just casually admitting that the whole purpose of the fake ceasefire with Iran is to restock oil and mineral supplies so that they can restart the war for Israel again. No way. Let's see here.
So I think what the president has told us to do is use this MOU to sort of refill the world's oil economy. Yeah. To refill some stocks, and then
that's why they drop
oil and
that's
mineral
why they
supplies so that they can restart
the sanctions, so Iran can flood the market with their oil to bring the price down.
To see where the hand is.
Oh shit!
Did he really just admit that?
Yo, what?
So
he really
I
just
think what the
admit-
president has told us to do is use this MOU to sort of refill the world's oil economy. Yeah. To refill some stocks, and then to see where the hand is.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
So
Yeah.
I think what the
He's-
president has told us to do
Yeah,
is
I don't know.
use
JD
this.
Vance is not the brightest guy. And this is what we were speculating, but it's like, thanks for the confirmation. Him and Rubio, you know, I don't know what I'm taking from them. Rubio in the beginning of the war admits that it was Israel's fault. That's why we got dragged into it. He said they were going to strike first. And now this nigga's saying, oh, yeah, we actually had the MOU so we can catch a breather. It's like, are you guys like vaguely trying to condemn Trump and like say you're not a part of this or anything? It's super funny. But
Yeah, and this is why the Iranians are not gonna fucking this is why the Iranians are not gonna fucking do anything with us, bro. The niggas can't trust us, man.
Yeah. Openly admitting that, as if Iran is just not completely watching.
That's
And
crazy
They
work,
knew
bro.
anyways. They knew anyways. Yeah, the memorandum of understanding is because we were getting smoked and Iran was actually doing damage to the global economy, even though we said we had control of the strait in the situation. So Iran does control the strait and control the world and the state of the world and strategic oil reserves. Okay, so that's why the MOU was enacted. Thought so. Because if Iran didn't have this advantageous body of water, I mean, what's the reason to really stop? You know, that's the reason we stopped. That was their lifesaver. That was their absolute lifesaver, and as well as the allies in the Gulf. But if those two things didn't exist, the U.S. would have been able to deal out this war and completely militarily destroy them, and in turn actually get that regime change. But I predicted too, because what I thought was that the U.S. was just going to, and I thought this in the very beginning, before the war even started, I said if the U.S. attacks Iran, we'll see something similar to Syria. If they militarily succeed, where they fracture the country to the point of no return, and now we have this vacuum of power like in Iraq, like a Syria, at least Syria back then, not now. And that's bound to happen in Iran if we militarily really destroy them and carpet bomb them effectively. I know we have to be precise with that term, but launch aerial campaigns and precise assaults against key targets that are binding to the main government, whatever it is, right? But if we destabilize them, we would see a situation similar to like all the other ones in the Middle East. So it's honestly very beneficial that Iran was able to resist this, because we would have created a power we can't contain. And then it's ISIS, and then it's Al-Qaeda again. We got to fund this group over here. We fund the Kurds, and then the Kurds fight these other guys, and these other guys are fighting the government. And it's the civil war nightmare. The U.S. is funding some group in between. The other group is disheveled as a result. Then they attack the U.S. in some sort of attack. Same shit over and over again. And by the way, sorry, a quick yap. By the way, that's what I'm fearful of with Lebanon. I'm fearful now with this new MOU that we saw on Friday, or this new strategic framework between Israel and Lebanon that we saw on Friday, that now we'll have a situation where the United States is a little bit more deeply invested into the Lebanese home government or their military than we were previously. And that may actually spark some grievances or birth a dishevelment from the Hezbollah crowd, from the Iranian population, from the Lebanese population, the Shia majority that are in support of Hezbollah. And now we'll see more factions build to really resist the U.S.-Israeli coalition of subduing Hezbollah. And again, we'll have this whole civil unrest, power vacuum issue. It wouldn't take Hezbollah and the IRGC really long to destabilize Lebanon by going after the government because they're trying to attack them. You know, so this is all just in the future. This is speculation, but this is kind of where the wind is blowing if we keep attempting to do diplomacy without the IRGC involved when it comes to Lebanon or really the proxy group Hezbollah. So they have to have involvement because they have the representation militarily. They got the guns, they got the money, they got the power, and they have it so much more than the Lebanese army. And on top of that, they do have some populist support. You know, they are favorable among a lot of Lebanese people. A lot of Lebanese people don't support Hezbollah, I'm aware. But for that matter, on the other side, a lot do. So that's a situation where the U.S. really should be hands off, but can't control Israel. So it's another thing that really could be a quagmire for us again. That's something that's concerning me. But go ahead.
So here he is, because as you guys know, it is an election year in Israel, and your boy Benjamin Netanyahu is running for prime minister again. So he's doing the rounds on Israeli television. So here he is. So Mount Hermon destroy the Syrian army's armaments, help the Druze, save them, maybe the Druze from slaughter, and then entering Iran twice to save us from the destruction of atomic bombs that they already had. You know who was here. Will be a third time if necessary, as long as I and Prime Minister Iran will not have nuclear weapons. So, bro is doing the whole campaign. And here's the thing you guys got to understand, bro. No matter who comes into power, it doesn't matter. They're going to continue what's going on in Lebanon. All these guys are pro-war hardliners in Israel now at this point. Even the people on the left agree with the wars, okay? So these Likud party guys, this sentiment is agreed with on the other side politically in Israel.
Likud, it's demonstrable. And Syria is the next target. Syria is likely before Turkey because Syria is going to be overnight regime change. That's just the fact they're still developing. And, you know, actually the Syrian leader just released a statement. You want to quickly go over that?
Yeah, sure. We can.
If you literally just type in, go in the search bar, type in Ahmed Al-Shar, it should come up.
Okay.
There it is. Told you. Yep. Yeah, click that.
No translations, but
no, it's right there. It's right there. Click show more. So
okay.
You can see there. He says, here, let me make it larger. He says, Israeli entity which has always accustomed us to targeting our stability and creating discord among us since the overthrow of the defunct regime is now seeking once again to turn our Pure Land into an arena.
I'm here, by the way. Keep going. I'm just going to grab some real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, of unending chaos. And by the way, this is the leader of Syria currently. This entity does not stop using all methods to plant disputes and conflicts. It seeks to dismantle the unity of our people and weaken our ability to move forward in process of rebuilding and renaissance. A war that has no goal other than fragmenting our homeland and scattering our efforts towards chaos and destruction. Possessing great power does not necessarily mean achieving victory, just as winning in a certain arena does not guarantee success in another arena. You may be able to start the war, but it is not easy to control its outcome. Syrians throughout their long history have rejected all separation and division. We are the children of this land and the most capable of overcoming all Israel entities' attempts aimed at tearing us apart, and too solid for our resolve to be shaken by fabricated sedition. Syria is not a testing ground for foreign conspiracies, nor a place for carrying out the ambitions of others at the expense of the blood of our children and women. So, you know, a little bit vague, but pretty much hinting at the idea that Israel is trying to launch its military operations and fulfill its greater promise, and the Golan Heights and a larger part of southern Syria and all of Syria really will be a part of this campaign. So there is this, you know, noticing in the entire Middle East. There's this awareness that has become mainstream as to what their plan is, and I'm telling you now, if everything kind of suspends with Lebanon and everything kind of suspends with Gaza somehow, some way, let's say that does happen on the fringe chance, I think it's unlikely. You know, you can bet, and now we're just having fun speculating, who knows, but Syria will be next up on that laundry list for sure. That's a big concern of Netanyahu, because remember, this guy is a Sunni fundamentalist. Say what you want, CIA or not, he's not an IRGC guy. He's a separate issue that can have his own large-scale power, and he's got connections with Qatar, which is not favorable with Israel. So a little lore there for the. And by the way, Freedom Lands, thanks for the two. He says, "What will Saudi Arabia do?" I'm assuming you mean throughout the midst of this conflict. Nothing. I don't think they'll do anything. They're not indifferent, but they won't get involved in any significant way. But
yeah, no, it's
crazy.
What are your thoughts on this? Because they're gonna
is that tomorrow? They're gonna have some commemoration.
They're gonna do the funeral. They're talking about they're gonna try to assassinate his son. His son's not gonna show up though. Like, what are they talking about?
I highly doubt his son would show up to that. That wouldn't be smart at all.
They're gonna move his body around. I think he's gonna go to Iraq. He's gonna go to a couple of places. Let me see here.
Yeah, no Western outlets are reporting on it. Honestly, I've only seen it
what's
on
going
X.
on? Yeah, why
Interesting, right? They don't really like to talk about those things that are going on in inland Iran, and you want to know why the Western outlets likely don't want to talk about it? Because there's probably going to be a very huge turnout.
Millions.
Yeah.
There's going to be millions,
And the
bro.
idea that they're selling to the West is everybody hates this regime, we're helping them, but when they see the whole country crying in all black, beating themselves because their leader just died, well, then the Western propaganda falls apart.
You want to explain that to them real quick about the beating themselves real fast?
Yeah, in Shiaism or the other sect of Islam, the Shia, they have this habit or this tradition really of hitting themselves in these mass gatherings or demonstrations in affection really or in unification, showing solidarity with their leaders, the Ahlul Bayt, the people who they believe were martyred in the name of the religion and things like that. But they've got the whole wrong idea of Islam, in my opinion. So they do this thing where they if you look in the videos, they hit themselves. They have these crazy turnouts and demonstrations. But no, I'm being a little funny when I say that. But they will. It's going to be a huge turnout.
This is interesting. The path from Gaza, how Gaza split the Democrats. It definitely did split the Democrats. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, 100%.
It definitely did.
Yeah, 100%.
What are your thoughts on Oh yeah, we could talk about this as well. The fuel strikes. And then, did you want to say anything about Sudan? These ninjas keep asking me about Sudan with what's going on there. I mean, bro, it's still a war going on over there.
Yeah, the situation in Sudan has been the same that it's always been. However, Khartoum, the main capital, has now largely stabilized, but we're still seeing so much more aggression from the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces, being supported by the UAE. I think today in Darfur, they captured some territory that they hadn't had control of in a long time in the west. So that's very remarkable. So Sudan is stabilizing. It's getting better. Slowly but surely, the Sudanese army, with support from the Russians at many points, are now able to take back a lot of the land that belonged to them initially from the RSF that was trying to not only remove Sudanese presence, but really extract fine materials and or rare earth elements, which I think they got a hold of, especially in the Al-Shar municipality. So it seems like the UAE got a lot of what they were looking for, but ultimately Sudan was able to resist them. But that's been a conflict that's been going for about 3.5, 4 years now, actually. 4 years of Sudanese conflict, and it's a brutal civil war, millions displaced, hundreds and thousands killed, confirmed. So it seems like it's stabilizing, but I would bet you, because the UAE is the main funder behind that entire conflict, Israel has also got a vested interest in Sudan and their rare earth as well, and their elements.
Following major Ukraine.
Okay, so as you guys know, Ukraine has been hitting Russia's energy pretty hard, and the reason why is because Russia's been making a lot of money on it.
Ukrainian drone strikes on Russian oil refineries. The country has begun experiencing severe domestic fuel shortages. People are queuing for hours to fill their cars. In some places, supply disruptions have left pumps dry.
To tackle the problem, Russia has imposed total bans on gasoline and jet fuel exports, while officials are actively weighing a ban on diesel.
It's because they were making so much money, dude, from this from the Strait of Hormuz being closed.
Exports too.
So Ukraine had to start striking their oil refineries so they couldn't make as much money.
It's a period of heavy rationing. Sales throughout the country are often strictly limited from 15 to 50 liters per vehicle, and drivers have to pump fuel strictly into vehicle tanks. Filling petrol canisters is prohibited in many regions due to widespread shortages.
Ordinary people are having to do the best they can.
I used to be able to refuel every morning, but now I've been driving for 2 hours after my shift and still no success.
These are temporary difficulties. We treat the situation with understanding. If necessary, we will switch to bicycles or electric cars.
You're the one working in town.
that nigga supports the Putin. He's like, hey, we will drive electric cars or we will ride bikes. We do not care. Fuck the Ukrainians.
Television. You tell me where we're heading in this country.
Russian President Vladimir Putin insists this is.
Yeah, he's been paranoid too, man. Like he has Putin is. They've been trying to assassinate him, bro, big time.
Yeah.
Situation is.
And Europe is gearing up for a war with this guy, which is retarded. But I don't know, man. The whole situation. This could have all been avoided, dude. This whole conflict could have completely been avoided, dude. It's so ridiculous.
Under control.
First and foremost, we have to rapidly and significantly increase production of air defense systems that are most in demand. We must also continue to improve them. We already have those systems. The challenge is to accelerate their production and delivery.
It's evening things out. It's evening things out a lot for Russia. They're having to make legitimate adjustments. And I was seeing, and it's rumored.
Don't get it twisted though. Ukraine has a lot of casual, like the Russians have been fucking up the Ukrainians. But
it's just the momentum has shifted a little
been
bit.
Able to even it,
more than people have expected. But Russia is now making some moves. I think they want to put some missile launchers in Belarus. Southern Belarus, and of course, Belarus has always been very loyal to the Russians in some ways when it comes to that. So we'll see what happens with that. Actually, the other day I met a Belarusian guy. Not often you see them out here in Connecticut. He was doing a service for my car. Shout out to him. And he was telling me, like, I don't know if it's true, but everybody's frustrated with this war across all of really Eastern Europe. Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova. So it's just that's another forever war, man. Trump, in the beginning of his administration, it's so funny because he was saying, like, I look at the conflict in Russia, or I think he said this after he regime changed Maduro in like 45 minutes, because we took out the leader of Venezuela so quickly. Trump's head was so large you couldn't fit through a damn doorway. And he was saying things like, Russia's over there struggling with Ukraine and we're changing the leaders in Venezuela overnight. 2 seconds, he's back in New York. And now we're in this forever war with Iran. So it's just funny how that caught up to him. But Russia certainly got their hands tied with the situation in Ukraine. And Ukraine's got their hands tied as well. But a large part of the Donbass has been, and that's been for a while, 2014 obviously with Crimea. But a large part of the Donbass and eastern Ukraine is now subjugated to a lot of Russia control or aggression. And it seems like Ukraine is kind of pushing back a little bit and they're earning some stripes. But overall, man, once Russia really gathers its cards and its marbles, it's going to be the same thing that we saw like from the beginning of the war. They're going to probably respond. I would predict that the conflict is probably going to start to heat up a little bit more than we've seen since the beginning of the Iran war. I think now the pendulum's going to shift
and it's
in this
all
direction.
of Europe against him. It's all of Europe. You know what I mean? That's people forget. Hey, fucked up or fucked down. Appreciate you with the 10 gifted, my friend. I appreciate you. But yeah, dude, it's all of Europe versus Russia right now.
Yeah, everybody, NATO, Europe as a whole, so Russia's got their hands full.
How much longer do I have you for, by the way? Because I know.
This could be the last thing.
Be completed more quickly.
I don't sleep anymore.
But with Ukraine,
unless there was anything else that you wanted to. Is this Moscow? I'm assuming. Is Moscow?
It seems like it. I'm not sure.
Carrying out attacks deeper inside Russia, the country's fuel crisis is unlikely to improve anytime soon. Yulia Shapava.
Wait, she's gonna say it. Play it.
Crimea under a state of emergency.
Shit. You want me to go back?
I think that was Ukraine. Almost sure that was
as Ukraine intensifies attacks on the Russian-controlled region. Kyiv says its aim is to press Moscow to end the war, but is that really?
Why Crimea critical to the Ukraine war? It's always been critical, though. Russia controls it, though. Yeah. So this was 3 days ago. Let's see what else is going on.
Warm water port all year anywhere around, I think, Eastern Europe. So it's very advantageous for whatever side controls it. That's
days on,
huge.
but the window to find people alive.
Oh yeah, death toll just passes 1900, man.
Closing fast.
It's crazy.
The death toll has risen to 1,943.
Let's see what else is going on here. Before I let you go. You know what? Let's go back to, actually, you know what? We could go CNN. We watched Fox quite a bit. Let's see what the latest is with our guys over at our favorite news station with CNN. Oh, niggas are live 24/7 now? Okay.
Because I was trained how to lead in the military. You have to show up. You have to be on the ground. You have.
Two women talking? No, thanks. Let's see here. Man, get out of here. Russia's losing right now. Ukraine.
I got a couple chats while you're looking.
Go ahead.
RD Daily says, "Who gives better dome, Chichi or Boma?" All right, bro, come on, grow up.
Nigga, what?
Freedom.
Bro, niggas are weirdos, bro.
Freedom Lands. Why is Turkey more of a threat than Saudi Arabia to Israel? What? Why is Turkey more of a threat than Saudi Arabia to Israel?
We're stronger military, bro.
Because Turkey's ramping up their military, and we just gave them jets. And Turkey's always condemned Israel explicitly. And they have been a lot more since the Gaza conflict. Erdogan, the leader of Turkey, has always kind of defied Israel way more than Mohammed bin Salman did. And Saudi Arabia is a direct key ally of the United States, and they were very close to signing the Abraham Accords at several, or at least one point we know for sure. So Saudi Arabia does not pose nearly as much of a threat to Israel as Turkey does. Turkey is a little bit more vague, a little bit more of a shadow country or a vague nation to them, a rogue nation to them. So they're a lot more concerned about Turkey. And like you said, their military is just significantly stronger. Significantly stronger. So that's the biggest that's the biggest thing with Turkey.
Between them and the Egyptians, two strongest militaries by far, in Iran, obviously.
Ukraine launching a major wave of attacks on Moscow tonight, coming as Putin continues to face massive setbacks in the war, and he's coming under increasing pressure at home as a result, raising questions of whether he'll end the war or escalate. Nick Payton-Walsh begins our coverage out front.
Hell is still nightly for Ukrainians. Here are drones slamming into Zaporizhia, where strikes killed 1, injured 5. But again Monday night, while Ukraine was dragging its injured from the rubble, they fired about 250 more drones back at Russia than were fired at them. 419, 60 of them at Moscow. This video apparently showing the moment a drone impacted near where Russian officials said a 6-month-old baby was among the 2 Russian dead that night. Very few images of the damage to Moscow emerged, where a space communications center was struck in Dubna. A lot of video actually came from Ukraine's president. Flaunting the damage, the Kremlin has instructed its law enforcement to hide. Russian city skies blighted more and more like Ukrainian cities. And scenes like this devastating attack on a Moscow oil refinery 2 weeks ago, shattering the sense in the capital of Putin's war of choice being something far away.
Yeah, bro, because they're making too much money with the Iran war, bro.
Those U.S. munitions, those U.S. munitions being put to work, bro.
Yep.
And like, you know, this is another conflict that frustrates me so much because Trump has made some critical mistakes in the beginning of his presidency too, by leaning way too much into Ukraine's favor and provoking the Russian side. You know, at one point I think he was even flirting with the idea of giving Ukraine missiles solely to hit Moscow. You know, and this was like early on in 2025. I remember him saying, "Do you think you could hit Moscow? You think you," like being provocative, you know? And he said he'd end this war in 24 hours, and here we are watching it at one of its larger heights in the last few months, and it's just so unfortunate, man.
It's ramping out.
Yeah,
ramping up a lot.
That others fought, now forced to admit more times than he would ever like in the last month to the problems Russians already know about, like gas shortages.
You are well aware that problems persist for both drivers and businesses. It's not always possible to find the required grade of fuel at present.
Ukraine released footage Tuesday of drone units who said they had targeted Moscow's specific anti-drone defences, making the route to the capital easier. But it is not just Moscow under pressure. The peninsula of Crimea battered hard, its isolation a key Ukrainian goal, achieved through blowing bridges, trains, roads, blackouts, and more gas queues.
Yeah, Moscow's going to respond.
The frontline brutal battles remain, but the story has changed. Ukraine, less the victim, more the disruptor, hoping to keep Moscow off balance long enough that it falls. Aaron, this is really about increasing pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin. But to what end? Yes, Ukraine can isolate Crimea, the peninsula, unoccupied Ukraine. It can rain drones on Moscow and other parts of Russia. But until Putin himself is vulnerable or feels political pressure, we're simply seeing on both sides.
Hey,
diplomacy,
Myron,
it seems, certainly frozen, although there are some hopes.
What was that, Rod?
Oh, your audio is like coming in choppy. Oh, okay. Play it again.
All right.
Perhaps it may get another turn, Aaron.
Just how big of a deal is this?
Aaron, this is a huge deal. We have some original data for you today. We've got over 20,000 incidents of Ukrainian strikes against Russian targets. They include everything from oil and gas facilities to these kinds of communications hubs and radar installations in cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg. And as Nick just outlined, we're seeing huge numbers of attacks in Crimea, where they've closed the beaches down. Schools are now closed in Crimea. People are now indoors. The Russian population.
And real quick, let me show you guys where Crimea is, so you guys can like get a better idea.
Because
you guys might be
started like last week, like a week and a half ago. By the way, this has been ongoing. You know, they've been on this offensive for a little while.
So, if you guys look right, you can see it's a little bit isolated here. Russia came in and took this over in 2014. This is actually what kicked off, like, well, this all started with the Maidan revolution, but this was started like the sanctions and everything else like that was them coming in and taking over Crimea and pretty much annexing it. This created a lot of the issues, but they did it obviously for strategic purposes because there's a big Russian base here. So when Ukraine became, you know, under Zelensky's power and became, you know, more NATO controlled and Western controlled, that's when Russia came in for national security purposes and like kind of took this over. But yeah, this is, and then obviously it has yeah, the Black Sea is huge strategically. You were talking about it's warm water. Yep. Or sorry, it's a freshwater sea, obviously, as most seas are. And obviously from a strategic standpoint, very important. So yeah. Did you have something else that you want to say, Riyad, or?
No, I mean, it's again, Russia still has influence over a good majority of the Donbass, which is very far eastern Ukraine. Luhansk or whatever it's called, if you go down there and you kind of go upwards a little bit east.
Yep, right here.
Some of that province Russia still has control over, but it's Luhansk is another one. Donetsk, I believe. However, those cities do have large Russian majority and or influence anyways, but it's a matter of time until they do respond to this
Crimea
offensive.
Was too. Crimea was huge. It was Russian pretty much too.
Yeah. So it's a matter of time until really Moscow has a very large and aggressive response, which is largely going to probably motivate or kind of instill some sort of reaction from the United States. I think the United States, where we're going to start to see a lot more U.S. media covering this conflict. Hopefully, as the Iran conflict settles, that's been the #1 priority for us for some stupid reason. And Trump is going to have some answers to this real soon, because if Moscow mobilizes, we're all good now and hands off because Ukraine's doing a good job hitting all this oil infrastructure. But when Russia punches back, it's going to end up being our issue as well. So we're going to get largely involved in this conflict over the better part of the next few months. If this continues, I hope this is just a little bit of an abrupt bump in the road, but I don't know if hostilities are really.
Yeah, Europe is gearing. Europe is like full on gearing up for a war, man. Like I think Germany started making weapons again, if I'm not mistaken. Someone was saying that Germany started making weapons again for like. So.
Population is feeling this war like they have not felt since the beginning of it, and it's because Russia is losing right now.
So, I mean, that's an incredible thing. You think about...
Yo, that's crazy. But yeah, they're blowing up oil infrastructure, so it's going to create massive fires.
Hearing you, Seth, say Russia is losing 2 years ago, or at times when the war was at its nadir for Ukraine, it's incredible. I know you have this new report coming out, and you're going to detail these 20,000 strikes by Ukraine inside Russia. What is the impact of that and what you're talking about? Kids not being able to go to school, beaches closed in Crimea, images of thick black smoke over Moscow regularly. Is this making Putin's situation?
And it used to be like Ukraine didn't attack Moscow. That used to be like a red line. Now they don't give a fuck. They're hitting Moscow.
Bets are off. Bets are off.
You know, like
truly at risk.
Well, certainly.
And guys, if you guys want, me and my brother can cover more Russia-Ukraine stuff for you guys. We just haven't been covering it because obviously the stuff in the Middle East has been going on.
Quiet. It's been quieter for the better part of the last few months, with small bumps here and there. But we can do like a comprehensive Ukraine-Russia breakdown and the expansion of NATO eastward, how it all started. Because like I think 8 out of 10 people have no idea why that conflict is even ongoing and what the motivation is for it.
2022, bro. Guys, this war started in 2014, bro. Okay, started in 2014. Like, you know, and it really started from U.S. really bad U.S. foreign policy, NATO aggression. You know, now Tulsi Gabbard declassified what I told you guys years ago about the biological weapons being in Ukraine, which was a big reason why Putin invaded in 2022. I remember people used to call me a Russia stooge for saying that, but now it's true that we absolutely did have. You know, I always, for all the that like don't understand, I always tell them, look, if China, like, you know, was set up like a military base or some shit like that, or if China went into Mexico, right, and was trying to set up like some type of military operation, we would be in there tomorrow, bro. That's the same exact thing of what's going on with Russia and Ukraine and NATO. That's the same exact thing. You know what I mean? It's just like we just don't. For some odd reason, like it's incredible to me how like Americans are like not able to understand other countries' needs for their national security, bro. Like if we can sit here and invade Iraq, right, because of 9/11 and weapons of mass destruction, which wasn't true, it was all a lie. I would argue Putin had way more, political justification to invade Ukraine than we did with invading Iraq, or bombing Iran. Like we had way less political leverage to do it. So like we're just being hypocrites here. We're being hypocrites.
Yeah, the ridiculous expansion of NATO eastward was one of the biggest things that Russia had told and begged for from the United States and Europe for years to stop. And Putin gave a lot of warning before he actually started that war in February of 2022, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just like the United States walked into that one and put Ukraine in a compromising position, as well as the fact that Ukraine did the same thing to us, putting us in a compromising position by demanding to expand eastward and, all of the nuclear issues as well. I think there's some issue with, I forgot, I saw a report the other day, and like I said, I'll really brush up on it so we can give you guys a nice comprehensive analysis. But something happened where now Russia is changing the guidelines for the potentiality of any sort of nuclear involvement being a part of this war. And I think it had to do with Ukraine or something like that. And somebody can remind me, and that wasn't too long ago. There's like a second part to what had already happened a year ago. But yeah, it's I think it's one of the most, it's one of those wars that pains me because it was one of the most avoidable. It was one of the most avoidable, and several strategic failures, bad decisions, bad diplomacy, bad judgment led to that war. And now it's an unstoppable one. Now it's very hard to actually put a stick in the wheel of that war, in which when Trump first started, he may have had the chance because it seemed like Putin was willing to have some sort of conversation.
Yeah, at least open up negotiations, at least. Like he talked to them, which...
How many pauses and how many ceasefires have we seen in that war? And again, this is the nature of these like long outstanding conflicts, and that's when and these long outstanding conflicts have a whole ton of foundation as to what started them. So we'll do a segment on that. We have to like
we will.
Chronological from 2014 after Crimea and its annexation all the way up until today, or really until the large part of the last 2 years.
We can do it. We could do it Thursday or Saturday.
Yeah, this nigga Frank going crazy.
Oh yeah, he was scratching himself.
Not helping him, Aaron. I mean, no war is ever linear, so it may not continue in this direction.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Ukrainians are fighting back really hard right now, but the Russians have, about 20% of the land mass of Ukraine at this moment.
Forever, but I think when you combine Russia's economic problems, high inflation, its economy is really struggling, particularly when you get.
I will say this, man. People that live in Russia say that this is all cap. Candace came back from Russia, said a lot of this was lies. Tucker went over there, said a lot of this shit was lies about Russia's economy being trash and not living a certain way.
They are suffering from some inflation, but it's I believe it is negligible. There is inflation is up, but that's just like, again.
Yeah, they make it sound worse than it really is.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go there, but nah, bro, I ain't going there, nigga. I want to see what the hell. I ain't going, bro. No, I'm not going.
Yeah, no.
Out of the oil and
not leaving.
And gas sector.
I'll get assassinated by the Israelis over there, bro. And Russia plays nice with the Israelis. They won't admit that, but they do, because there's lots of Russian Jews, chat. Lots and lots of Russian Jews.
And then when you look at the sheer number of casualties and fatalities, the British intelligence has reported upwards of 500,000.
Oh yeah, the Brits are big ops for the Russians, by the way. Big ops, the Brits.
Russian fatality.
I mean, we are too, but like, I don't think people. It's understated how many British
how much
spies.
Of adversaries they are. Yeah.
Yeah, like no one ever talks about it, but like, bro, if you're like what is it, the MI5 or something like that, and you get caught Russia, bro, you're gonna die. Okay, like you're gonna have a bad time, bro. You're gonna have a very, very bad time.
Welcome. Punch! Since the war began, I mean, that is stunning. That is over 4 times larger than all U.S. fatalities in all U.S. wars combined since World War II. And it's hard to see Putin continuing at these levels and to be popular in the country for it.
I mean, it is incredible, and that 500,000 number stunning. Seth, you know, there's also.
Well, let's be honest. You niggas are not going to get a regime change, bro. Putin's not going anywhere, bro. Bro is not going anywhere. Okay, he kills all of his ops. Like, what was that guy? It was Navalny. Who's the guy that he killed? That he poisoned that nigga, bro? With like,
oh yeah,
you
that was crazy,
bro.
Let me see.
He killed him with this like very rare frog poison. Insane.
Alexei Navalny.
Alexei Navalny.
Yeah,
bro. He killed that. He tried to kill him one time and it failed. And then when they got him the second time, they killed him with like a very rare and hard to find frog poison, dude. And only the Soviets have access to it. The first time they tried to kill him, it was Novichok. Yep, Novichok was the first time they tried to kill him. It failed, and then the second time they got him, they used a very rare frog poison to get him the second time, and only the Soviets use it, and the Soviets use Novichok as well. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, Putin's actually one of the richest guys in the world too.
Oh yeah, he might have a net worth similar to that of Elon Musk. If you talk about like all the money he has and everything else like that. Like, yeah, bro is
dude. The way he funds. So this guy, the leader of Chechnya. So
yep.
Really quick lore.
You want to share?
Ramzan, yeah. Oh, I thought I was screen sharing. I'm tripping. This guy right here,
sure.
Ramzan Kadyrov, is, you know, for better understanding, really Putin's little puppet. So he's the head of the Chechen Republic, and Chechnya is kind of this like sub-country within Russia. It's a part of Russia, and we can actually look at it right now.
Yep. Which, for those of you guys, the Chechnya is like think of it as like the Muslim part of Russia, bro. It's basically, yeah.
Yeah. So here you
all the UFC fighters.
Just for reference here, it's southern Russia, near Dagestan as well. But Chechnya is this province right here. All Muslims, Sufi Muslims, and Ramzan Kadyrov is obviously the leader. This guy is a brutal, vicious dictator, but everybody knows he's obviously like this separatist. I kind of forget all of the lore, but Putin funded him to overthrow the other government that was in control of Chechnya at the time, and in return, this guy serves Putin in all of his interests strategically and whatever. And these guys actually mobilized some troops fighting against Ukraine of Putin's demand. So some Muslim fighters were fighting in mobilization for Russia. So this guy serves all of his interests, but he himself is known to be absolutely loaded, like super rich, and all of his guys under him make tons of money. A UFC fighter, Hamzat Chimaev, you know, UFC pays, but they don't pay that much. But this like guy who's from Chechnya and has a very close relationship with Ramzan Kadyrov, and there's a lot of corruption within Chechnya and, you know, the Russian connection as well. But even him as a UFC fighter, he's got like all these cars, all this money, all these G-Wagons. People are always like, you know, how does this guy afford all of this? And who I'm referring to, just in case you guys aren't familiar, is this guy right here, Russian Emirati. He claims Emirati citizenship, but he's Chechnyan as well. But if you like go through his Instagram and his lifestyle, this dude's got like money himself, you know. And it just goes to show like Putin's got a very powerful funnel of people under him that he gives tons of money to enact his influence, even if they're Muslims. And Putin's always been pretty favorable to Islam in a way, you know. Obviously what happened in Syria, not so much, right? But in regards to, like, there's a video of him like kissing a Quran and meeting with Chechen leaders and Russian leaders in Moscow, so that are Muslim. So his influence is remarkable all across Asia, but really in Russia. And, you know, when you look at the funnels and the chains that his influence draw down
he takes care of his people. They all get rich. They all get wealthy. There's enormous corruption all across Russia. Enormous corruption all across Russia, dude.
Yeah. And you could see it with some of these UFC fighters. So that's what's kind of made it a little bit mainstream, and that's what's made people privy to like Ramzan Kadyrov and his brutal dictatorship, and like Conor McGregor spoke about it before. But there's a real rich power structure over in Russia, man. People don't know because everything is alienated over there. Obviously, U.S. media doesn't report on it. It's not popular here, but it's real and it's big. So just a little fun fact there.
So, foreign.
Well, that's what what's it called? Oh my God, the guy they killed. The Russian politician that they killed him, they poisoned him. I forgot. I just said his name a second ago.
Oh, Alexei, or
starts with N.
Navalny.
The guy just said Navalny. Yeah, like that's what he was. That's what got him that's what got him killed, bros, because he was exposing all the corruption in Russia.
Yeah,
that's what.
There's a whole lot, man. There's a whole lot.
Yep.
Policy magazine, citing a Russian military blogger's claim along those lines, that the life expectancy of an average Russian soldier in an assault operation is 20 to 35 minutes. That's it. You go in an assault operation.
That might be some Ukrainian propaganda there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't, that's like.
Come on, man. Yeah. But I get it, though. I get it. Like, you know, propaganda is war, dude. They always say the first victim of warfare is the truth. Always. So.
Yeah. You're going to die in 20 to 35 minutes if you're an average Russian. 10 days to 3 weeks is the lifespan of a soldier from training to combat. That's it. You go into combat 10 days to 3 weeks. I mean, we can't independently verify this. It's consistent with what you're talking about from British intelligence. How long can Russia sustain losses on that scale, both just mathematically, but also?
Well, they have a big military, bro. They have a huge military.
So, societally and in terms of Putin's hold on power.
Yeah, Aaron, and there are some indications in that what you call the kill zone. It's about a 20 to 40 kilometer area between where the Russian and the Ukrainian front lines are, where a lot of these Russian casualties are happening. I mean, our numbers are that for parts of the war, the Russians were losing 2-to-1 ratio to the Ukrainians. Now it's up to 8-to-1. The challenge for Putin, if he mobilizes, is that it could impact people in Moscow and the sons of elites, and I think that's where he would have a problem.
I want to talk about how the Russian military has adapted, how they've created their own drone warfare.
And just so you guys know, CNN is pro-Ukraine, so it's very important that you guys understand that they're going to push the pro-Ukraine bullshit. A lot of these people that come on here are, pro-Ukraine commentators. So obviously, always take that with a grain of salt.
Fair as well, in many ways, outpacing other nations.
But there's definitely more Ukrainian casualties than Russian. But both parties are losing a lot of people for sure.
NATO countries.
We still don't know the official numbers because both sides are keeping their casualties to their chest for obvious reasons.
There's no doubt Ukraine has ramped up in its aggression, and they're covering some ground here. Because they're hitting critical infrastructure that if Russia had the ability to stop, they would, right? So there is some dent being made here. Really quickly, I have a chat. MAB3511, thanks for the 20. He says, what did do, my guys? W show last night. Myron and I wrap and design cars / houses. Pick a color. You spelled color wrong. Color. Let's wrap them big boy toys. IG real _ Mike _ Larry. Okay, yeah. If we need anything wrapped, I guess my brother.
Oh, that's for you, bro. I don't wrap nothing. That's for you, bro.
I'm not gonna wrap my car either. Yeah, guys. No, don't anything luxurious, anything relating to vehicles. Myron will not be a consumer of that, okay? He's the last person on the planet. VWAP that ass. All right, dick him down, Riyadh. All right, guys, I can't be reading. I'm going to have to put a limit on these chats. You niggas are making it painful. VWAP also says, Tucker releases interview with the Merchant of Death, Victor Bout, and Bout spilled the beans on a whole lot of things happening in Europe. Okay, yeah, I heard about the interview. I didn't get a chance to watch it, so if I have some time, I'll catch it.
I listened to some of it. Shout out to FNF Speed with a 5 gifted.
So in Europe, it's Ukraine dominant, but then Russia's not that far behind in drone warfare production. But as it relates to these specific longer range strikes, which the United States, we should note, even under President Biden, had really urged Ukraine not to engage in and not to pursue. President Zelensky calls them long range sanctions. And in his view, he thinks this is what's going to bring President Putin to the negotiating table in earnest. Is that how you're interpreting it? Do you think that this will...
Okay, just to draw the clearer picture, Russia cannot capitulate or end this war. Do you know how much influence and work they've put into this war and what they'll lose if they concede here? Russia cannot end the war in the way Ukraine sits now. They have to earn a lot more territory and influence across the Donbass and really a large part of Ukraine before they feel comfortable ending this war. And that's the reason that they started it. So a little bit of military pressure and military W strategically for Ukraine by hitting this infrastructure is not going to get Putin to automatically come to the table and capitulate. That's asinine. That's asinine, and that is reckless. And I'm not surprised to hear anything like that from Zelensky. Of course he would say some stupid shit like that.
People forget, like, as an authoritarian like him, where, like, nigga, I'm not going nowhere, he could afford to take way more losses. Like, it's not...
Way more damage.
Like, let's not... got to worry about midterms and shit like that. You don't got to worry about none of that fuck shit, bro.
Let's not overestimate. And look, it does seem like the populace in Russia is starting to grow increasingly against this war, but that's the nature of any long-term conflict, honestly. But do not make the mistake that Russia is just about to like concede or fall for this. This is propaganda. Yes, Ukraine is doing some damage, but Russia will likely respond, and Russia is not going anywhere. They're the aggressors in this war from the start. I mean, in terms of the military action, the kinetic strikes, not the aggressor of all the issues. And so they're going to ensure that they respond and hit back hard. And anybody who's been paying attention to this conflict knows this is kind of the cycle we've seen for the last year. So that's just that's funny. That's funny they say that.
Finally get him to settle down for peace talks, or is he only going to fight back harder now?
Well, President Putin is a very stubborn man. He's a man who believes that he can win this war on the battlefield. In this speech in which he promised to take care of the fuel shortages, he also spoke at length about real and alleged Russian military victories in the battlefield. And one must say that the information that he was citing is incorrect. So these are wildly optimistic assessments that do not correspond to the reality in the battlefield, where Russia has barely advanced in the last 6 months.
That is true.
But the equation is very simple.
Is true. That I'll admit is true. Okay, that map right there is gold. That's what I needed a moment ago.
But this is what they still got.
Yeah, so Donetsk, obviously Luhansk is in there. But yeah, that is true. Russia's advancement was rapid and it slowed down significantly. And so that's one of the crossroads that we've seen in this war. That's kind of in a state of limbo. Because obviously they were trying to annex and really take control of as much territory as possible. That has largely paused, for sure.
Fuel can return to the Russian gas stations the moment Russia agrees to a ceasefire, or at the very least to a ceasefire when it comes to long-range strikes. President Putin...
you guys can see Crimea here annexed by Russia in 2014.
On Sunday, refused to do that. He said that Russia has an advantage in long-range firepower, so it's not in Russia's benefit to cease fire and to stop these long-range strikes. So for now, this exchange will go on.
Only one.
All right. It's not going to end. But no, we can definitely cover this in more detail if you want, Riyadh, for sure. Let me read your last chats because I know I've held you here way longer. You're supposed to leave at 11:30. I got you here until 1:30.
It's all good, man. It's part of the grind, bro. I don't care. That's it. I read the last ones before we finished there. W stream, man. W coverage. We pretty much covered everything that's going on right now. But yeah. Good coverage. I'm gonna hop off. I'll be back whenever. Honestly, so just for you guys who are on Myron's end, if you guys jump on, because I know a lot of you guys watching when Myron's not watching. I try to shoot to go live like 3 or 4 times a week, give or take. Ideally, really, it'd be like 5 or 6, but with the full-time job, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, of course. But expect me to be live anytime Myron's not live for whatever reason, whether it's after hours or whatever. W Frank in the camera right there. Let's go. Frank's gotten huge, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good-looking ass dog.
When you saw him. Yeah, he was like double the size since you last saw him, right?
Yeah. I haven't seen him since he was a puppy. He's a very good-looking dog, though. Bro aged well. But yeah, live 3 to 4 times a week. So check out the channel, Riyadh's Report. Or if you just type in Riyadh on YouTube, honestly, it should be the first thing that comes up. And I'll be back here either tomorrow or Thursday, my brother. We'll see what's calling in the news, what's pressing, and then we'll play it by ear. But yeah, man. Yeah, that's it. Anything else you had to say?
No, man. It's always good having you on. And then I guess we'll jump back on Thursday? Probably?
Yeah. MAB says we're going to wrap the studio. LOL. I see y'all soon. MAB, you got somebody wrapping the studio? No? Are you talking about my studio? Hey, I appreciate the support. I'll check out your Instagram and see if you have anything in my local area. Maybe I'll get a sign or some shit. But Thursday works because it's Wednesday now, right? Yeah, it's Wednesday. So we could run it Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
Run it Thursday.
Because we got after hours tomorrow, so.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Unless you don't go live, then I'll cover. I'll be the substitute teacher. But if you're live,
yeah, no, I'll probably do a live tomorrow, and then we'll do after hours, and then yeah. But no, if you want to jump on tomorrow, man, jump on tomorrow too. That's cool.
All right, perfect. We'll play it by ear, and we'll be back towards the end of the week, and then happy July 4th, niggas. Even though I'll see you guys again before then, I'll catch up with you guys very soon. And here, let me just drop your link in my chat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, come on over, guys, to kick. Come on over to Kick Ninjas.
All right, guys. So that link is in there. I just dropped it in the chat. Go check out Myron on Kick for those of you who are hanging out in here. And I'll be back either tomorrow or after tomorrow. All right, bro. Peace.
All right, man. Later.
All right. Come on. This is the wrong sound. I'm so tired. Great stream. Good coverage. Love all you guys. Thank you for the support. Not too many crazy hot topics, but enough to really get into. The lighting is cooked. This is pissing me off. It's not good. Yeah, I got to get with TPC, man. I said I would do it today, but I just got distracted. So, upgrading the studio. Lighting doesn't look that good. Maybe you guys can't notice, but I can notice. It looks like shit. So, we'll get that fixed. We'll have these repairs and adjustments underway. But love all of you guys. Appreciate the support. And I will be back at some point later on in the week, likely Thursday. Until then, have a great night. Good night.